You're an automatic chick magnet.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, December 14th, 2014. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 678.
This is No Agenda.
Celebrating sequential and unique numerical patterns in FEMA Region 6, the capital of the drone star states, Austin, Texas. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where everybody's slipping and sliding, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
You got freeze?
No, I just thought I'd say that.
I thought, wow, they really don't report the weather anywhere else, do they? It's freezing in northern.
It's
in
frosty.
California?
It's frosty.
Wow. All right. Shall we start off with some legislation right off the bat, John, just to get it going, just so everyone can get into the mood?
Oh, but let me pull up my Greenpeace stuff first that I've got plastered all over the house.
Your Greenpeace stuff?
Yeah, you aren't familiar with the story, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm very familiar with the story, but
I've decided to put those signs everywhere.
I wanted to read a little piece of legislation while everyone was paying attention to. What were we paying attention to? Oh, yes, we had the torture report. What else did we have? We had
the never-ending torture report.
Right,
it's torturous.
Yes, the spending bill. We had the little spending bill that I guess last night they decided, okay, good to go. We'll sign off on that.
After a long theater-like charade.
Yeah, well, of course, charade.
A charade.
There was also another act that passed that didn't get a lot of attention. This is Bill 4681 passed I believe this is now passed the House and the Senate.
Is it a House Bill 4681?
Let me check. Yes, it is. And this is, the short title is the Intelligence Authorization Act for Fiscal Year 2015.
This sounds good already.
Yeah. And there is there's a couple of things in there, increasing employee compensation, benefits, software licensing. I got to make sure everyone's paid. But then Section 309, which in the final bill, in the final version of the bill, is actually titled correctly. It was mistitled up until this final version. I'm wondering if I have the mistitle was actually funny. That's why I think it escaped a lot of people's attention. Let me see if I happen to be able to find the mistitle. It was very cute. No, I can't find it offhand. Doesn't matter. It is now correctly titled Procedures for the Retention of Incidentally Acquired Communications. It's
already a winner.
It's incidental. This, of course, you will find marked up in your show notes at 678.noagendanotes.com. The best place to find all the show notes is archive.noagendanotes.com. Section 309, Procedures for the Retention of Incidentally Acquired Communications. We need some definitions first, John. As you know, this is how legal documents work, and as a legal groupie, I fawn over this stuff. Definitions in this section: covered communication. So this is the communication. Section 309 is going to be talking about the term covered communication means any non-public telephone or electronic communication acquired without the consent of a person who is a party to the communication, including communications in electronic storage. I think that pretty much covers everything, doesn't it? Right.
Sounds pretty good. Yeah, sounds pretty comprehensive.
Right down to electronic storage. I think that is known as the cloud. Then we have another definition: head of an element of the intelligence community. This is the people who are allowed to authorize this. That can be the head of the intelligence community or the head of the department or agency containing such elements. So again, pretty much everybody. Another definition: United States person. Now, of course, we know what a United States person is. This term is relatable to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978. So a United States person is any person, but also any company, any entity that is a legal entity in the United States. And then we have the procedures for the covered communications. Here's where it gets interesting. The application of the procedure shall apply to any intelligence collection activity not otherwise authorized by court order. So when I saw this, jumped out at me. This is part of my Tourette superpowers. these words just what? So if there's no court order, no warrant for a surveillance or intelligence collection, as they call it here, that would fall under the not otherwise authorized. I guess that would also be like emails between you and I if there was no warrant.
Then
and
they just happened to stumble on them somehow by accident by looking at them.
It's even better than that. Let's see. So not otherwise authorized by any of these processes that is reasonably anticipated to result in the acquisition of a covered communication to or from a United States person and shall permit the acquisition, retention, and dissemination of covered communication subject to the limitation in paragraph B. So this is for any communication outside of court orders that, and this permits the acquisition. So going to, for instance, Google and saying, hey, here is the law that has been signed. It hasn't been signed yet, but we're expecting the president to sign this into law. I have written here, I can acquire and retain and disseminate this communication because it falls under the definitions of covered communications. Give that to me. And this is, and the limitation on retention is 5 years. However, you can do longer than 5 years, and this is my favorite. Retention is necessary to protect against imminent threat to human life, in which case both the nature of the threat and the information to be retained shall be reported to the Congressional Intelligence Committees not later than 30 days after the date such retention is extended under this clause. Mm-hmm. Now, we know what imminent means these days. Do you remember?
Yeah, it means just about anything. I mean, it doesn't mean anything is what it really means.
It means it doesn't, imminent means it doesn't even have to be a provable threat. It's just, if it's assumed.
Like the 16-year-old kid, American citizen, gunned down by a drone in a public cafe.
Imminent threat. You never know what he was doing.
Yeah, he could have been who knows what.
And so they can do all this and then don't even have to report on it until 30 days after the fact. And that's Section 309, everybody.
So what do you think is new about this that makes it so important?
It legitimizes, wow, okay. It legitimizes acquisition and retention of communications between United States persons. United States persons.
Your ass law, because they're doing this anyway.
Yeah, well, okay, you can see it as such, yes. But this is exactly the piece that has always been debated. We don't collect anything if there's a U.S. person involved, and if it's U.S. persons, if there's no foreign.
Well, they never said
actor.
That. They usually say on purpose.
Well, now it has. This is for anything, for any communication not otherwise authorized. So then now and it can be United States person. It does not have to have a foreigner involved in the covered communication. So I think it is new.
$10 just doesn't pass.
Well, it's passed. All it has to do now is be signed by the president. He's going to line item veto this or something. This is passed.
You see, they're not going to sign. I don't know if the Senate's looked at it.
Yes. No, I'm pretty sure. Hold on a second.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, I am pretty sure that this has passed both houses.
I don't think so.
Okay, I could be wrong. What is this password? What is this bull crap? I want to look at a password.
I'm stuck on
let me see. I thought it passed both houses, John.
I'm looking here. I'm looking. Mm-hmm. Okay, HR 4681.
No.
I'm looking at GovTrack.
Yeah, exactly. 4681. What do we have? I'm going in there as well.
Barbara Lee voted no.
Wow. Must have been no money in it for her. Yes, passed House, passed Senate. They're resolving differences, which I think is the one I just read to you.
Prognosis on the GovTrack is 31% chance of being enacted.
Well, it has passed both houses, so that gives it a good chance. Regardless, our representatives passed this.
They don't care. They don't care about the public.
Yeah.
I even knew this was going on. This is Mike Rogers.
Yes, I know. It's his bill. Isn't that great? One more before I become a DJ.
This guy's living in a dream world.
And he can probably go on the, hey, everybody, it's Mike Rogers here on the Premier Radio Networks. Yes, I am the author of HR 4681. Screw you, Bubbaloo.
Okay, the last act. Okay, yeah, this thing doesn't keep up with things. This has been going on most of the year.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was in committee, I guess, a lot, which makes sense. And the committees, of course, would be...
was in committee in May, and then it's gotten kicked out, and it was in Senate committee in July, so this is taking forever.
Yeah, but here it is. All right. I just thought it was just a warm up.
It's a cover your ass bill. It's just which is the same thing with the... I do have a couple of last minute annoyances about the stupid Spygate, which I call it that.
Oh, I call it rectal rehydration gate.
Rectal rehydration. No, the rehydration was only one. It's the feeding that was the one where they stuck the hummus up the guy.
Rectal feeding.
Oh, you guys like hummus? Oh, you Arab? You like hummus?
Can I play one clip? Before you get into it, because this is a Hayden on Jake Tapper.
Let's first of all let's differentiate, if we can, for the sake of this conversation, between the abuses, the things that were not
unauthorized,
such as the rectal rehydration.
No, stop.
Okay.
All right. That was a medical procedure. That was done because of detainee health.
This gets so good. This is so good. Wait till you hear what Tapper says.
Always a winner.
Medical procedure.
That the people responsible there for the health of these detainees saw that they were becoming dehydrated. They had limited options in which to go do this. It was intravenous with needles, which would be dangerous with a non-cooperative detainee. It was through the nasal passage.
Pureeing hummus and pine nuts and...
Jake, I'm not a doctor and neither are you, but what I am told is
I'm not a doctor.
Wait.
Is one of the ways that the body is rehydrated. These were medical procedures. And to give you a sense...
You're really defending rectal rehydration.
What I'm defending is history.
It's not rectal rehydration. It's history. I thought that one was the best exchanges I've ever seen on television.
Yeah, that's actually borderline clip of the day.
Well, you don't have to give it to me if you don't feel
I'm
like.
not.
Okay. I thought that was just great. Hummus and pine nuts. You're dehydrated, son. You need some hummus and pine nuts.
I'm not a doctor, and neither are you.
I'm not a doctor, Jim.
You got to pull that little segment out. Was it, I'm not a doctor, and neither are you? Is that what I think was what it was?
Hold on a second.
Play that part again.
Oh, that's good. But I'd already cleaned it up. Hold on a second. Let me get it back. It's okay. It'll just take a moment.
Let's differentiate.
Come here, Jake Tapper.
If we can, for the sake of this conversation, between the abuses, the things that were not
unauthorized,
such as the rectal rehydration.
No, stop.
Okay.
Right? That was a medical procedure. That was done because of detainee health. That the people responsible...
You don't look so good, son.
...there for the health of these...
You like hummus, you Arab?
...detainees saw that they were becoming dehydrated. They had limited options in which to go do this.
See if we can isolate it.
It was intravenous with needles, which would be dangerous with a non-cooperative detainee. It was through the nasal passage.
Pureeing hummus and pine nuts and...
Jake, I'm not a doctor and neither are you, but what I am told is...
That's it. Jake, I'm not a doctor and neither are you.
It sounds like the old Star Trek show.
It does. I'm a doctor, Jim. I'll see if I can splice them together.
There is one floating around the internet where McCoy goes... the whole of them. He apparently throughout the seasons he would say, "I'm not a this. I'm an engineer. Or I'm not a this."
And neither are you.
Or not a psychiatrist or something.
Yeah, and neither are you, dude.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, so I tried watching the tail end of this, and I finally got fed up, and I decided to pull my clip, which I left out of the last show because I had to go find it, and then I had to cut it, and I had to produce it because it was.
And I can tell that you were irritated. You know how I can tell?
No,
all caps. I can see if I look at the timeline. Hold on, so I have the clips in alphabetical order. But if I look at them by creation date, let me see.
Accidental.
Oh, hold on a second. This is good.
And I said, I don't know if I should keep going these all caps. He's going to call me out on it, and I just won $1 bet.
Yeah, with yourself.
Yes.
Okay, which one is it?
All right, I got 4 shorties because Shields and Brooks I figured at least one of these two guys weren't going to be apologists for.
And now these is this what is this on?
This is a news hour. There's the two commentators that come on. Mark Shields. Some these are liberal.
Does either one of them have a bow tie?
No, but Shields should.
Okay, all right.
And actually, both of them should. They both have bow ties. It makes sense. And then Brooks, the columnist from the New York Times. And then I was so disappointed that neither one of them, again, both on the same side of the debate. Oh, and the thing that keeps cropping up, even though I don't know if these clips contain it, I know the next one does, is, they knew. And I got sick of it because Rodriguez and all these, they were briefed 65 times.
Right, the Senate knew. The Senate knew what was going on.
They knew what was going on. They keep harping on this. So that's got on my nerves. So place Shields and Brooks 1 for starters to show where they're coming from.
Drones. Killing is probably worse than torture. Those moral calculus should not be legalized except for in extreme cases, in my view.
Just very quickly to both of you, the CIA comes out of this how?
The CIA comes out of it, I think, damaged and wounded. I think that's what John Brennan is trying to do.
What?
What? He's trying to damage him and wound him?
That's what he said.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just the Freudian slip or...
It's a Freudian slip.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I slipped that.
You would say, I'm not so sure about that.
So let's try.
If it were
I
me.
would.
If it were me, you would counter
But if
that.
it was you, I would do the same thing. Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Shields and Brooks too. This is where I started to get annoyed.
Degrading other human beings who do that every day and do it well.
Yeah, it wasn't just the CIA; it was the whole country. I mean, there was a lot of people.
Hey, Dvorak, were you rectally hydrating with hummus?
Political chain. A lot of people in Congress, a lot of people in the public, and so we're trying to rediscover our moral center.
Oh yes, trying to rediscover a moral center.
It's just the public that did this.
Yes, it was all your fault.
All right, so then I say, that's hopeless. These guys are sold out.
Yeah.
Because blaming the public and all the rest of it. And so then I decide, Al Jazeera definitely is not going to be like this. But was I wrong? Yes. Woolsey, one of the ex-CIA guys, standing up for his buddies, the threesome that were in charge during this period.
Now, who was Woolsey again?
Woolsey was a CIA director.
He was a director.
The big three. He was one that came later, I believe.
Okay, all right. He was short. I don't think he was in very long, was he?
He was a short timer.
All right.
Took one look and got out.
Yeah. Report from Woolsey?
Woolsey on report.
Final question for you. One of the big parts of this report was accusing the CIA of misleading Congress and of civilians. The CIA by nature, it's clandestine, has clandestine operations. It needs to hide things that are going on, but does it need to hide things from Congress and from the American public?
I take at their word the three former directors who signed the letter to the Wall Street Journal today, along with some of their other senior colleagues, that they had fully informed the Congress, and I think that it would be ridiculous of them not to inform the Congress of some major step like this. I could not conceive of their not having done so, but only the people who spoke and the people who were spoken to. No, again, it is really extraordinary that the people who put this Democratic majority report together for the Congress did not talk to a single person inside the government, in the CIA or anywhere else, who was involved in pulling this program together. They decided to edit things the way they wanted so it would say what they wanted it to say, and that is extraordinarily deceptive as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that seems like that's what happened to me too. That seems
makes sense.
You know the reason why people don't care about these kinds of reports?
Because they don't give a shit.
No, it's not produced properly. If you want to get people's attention, here's how the report should sound.
Final question for you. One of the big parts of this report was accusing the CIA of misleading.
That's how you get people's attention.
Meanwhile, of course, to him and everybody else that's throwing the committee under the bus, that's throwing, because Feinstein who established long-term supporter of the CIA, thrown under the bus, all the rest of them. But meanwhile, I keep hearing this nonsense about, they were fully informed, they knew what was going on, they knew this, they knew that. And we already had the staff guy from Powell, Colin Powell's chief of staff, saying they got that George Tenet was just a liar. But okay, let's just ignore that. So let's listen to the Senate committee's the vice chair, Jay Rockefeller.
Yeah.
This is clipped down a little bit because he went on for an hour.
Yeah.
But here is an example of how well informed they were.
Now, do you want the summary or
summary? The summary one. Sorry, that was
very hard fight to get to this point. Especially in the early years of the CIA's detention program, it was a struggle for the committee to get the most basic information or any information at all about the program. One of the profound ways that the breakdown happened was through the active subversion of meaningful congressional oversight. They further refused to notify the full committee about the program's existence. You remember there was always the gang of 4, the gang of 6, or the gang of 8. They'd take the chairman and vice chairman, take them down to the White House, give them a flip chart, 45 minutes with the vice president, and off we go. Senator Roberts and I went down.
I can just see this flip chart. Then here's your pine nuts, and here's your hummus, and here's your rectum.
The flip chart showed nothing.
And here's your tube.
And we're instructed we couldn't talk to each other on the way back from one of those meetings. It was absurd. They further refused to notify the full committee about the program's existence. You remember there was always the gang of 4, the gang of 6, or the gang of 8. They'd take the chairman and vice chairman, take them down to the White House, give them a flip chart.
Didn't you just say that? That double up for some reason?
I must have screwed up.
That's okay.
Play it out.
45 minutes with the vice president, and off we go. Senator Roberts and I went down by car and were instructed we couldn't talk to each other on the way back from one of those meetings. It was absurd.
Which, of course, we didn't do. But, question. It seems now that it's very hard for anyone to really get to a central focus of this. We have... one is what is torture, what is not torture. 2, who authorized, who did not authorize. 3, who lied to whom? Was it effective? And is this are the moral compass? I think there's too many things. No one can focus on one thing, except the media now is saying, hey, turns out CIA, they had shills giving us false information. Wow. When the Pentagon calls and says, we have a guy we'd like you to put on as an expert, didn't that ring a bell anywhere? Is this really what the media is now claiming?
Yeah, it's astonishing.
Can't believe it. Now, but the thing that I keep coming back to, John, this is now where the NSA was a year ago. Here's where the CIA is. And I have people who disagree with me about this NSA-CIA fight, but it seems so obvious. This is Counter-Strike.
It makes sense that it is. So let's play the rest of that, and then we'll...
well, this ended. I have...
what?
I have Rockefeller testimony clip.
Well, play that.
I have 2. I'm sorry. It's just,
there was a piece of it that it should be. Well, he does. We don't have to go any further, but you get the idea. The committee was not informed. They obfuscated. They wouldn't let people talk to each other, and the full committee was never informed. So these guys didn't know anything.
No, not much.
And they couldn't get any information. He goes on to discuss that they wouldn't get. They asked for this. They asked for that. It's annoying that this is the wrong clip.
Well, do you want to listen to the testimony clip? Maybe it's in there.
Right.
I'll see what that is.
Very hard fight to get to this point. Especially in the early years of the CIA's detention program, it was a struggle for the committee to get the most basic information or any information at all about the program. The committee's study of the detention program is not just the story of the brutal and ill-conceived program itself. The study is also the story of the breakdown in our system, Madam President, of governance that allowed...
Is that Feinstein? Was she just hawking there in the background?
She's not there.
Oh, I thought it was.
President, of governance that allowed a country to deviate in such a significant and horrific way from our core principles. One of the profound ways that the breakdown happened was through the active subversion of meaningful congressional oversight. A theme mirrored in the Bush administration's warrantless wiretapping program during that period. I first learned about some aspects of the CIA's detention interrogation program in 2003. When I became vice chair of the committee, at that point and for years after, the CIA refused to provide me or anybody else with any additional information about the program. They further refused to notify the full committee about the program's existence. You remember there was always the gang of 4, the gang of 6, or the gang of 8. They'd take the chairman and vice chairman, take them down to the White House, give them a flip chart, 45 minutes with the vice president, and off we go. Senator Roberts and I went down by car and were instructed we couldn't talk to each other on the way back from one of those meetings. It was absurd. They refused to do anything to be of assistance. The briefings I received received little or no insight into the CIA's program. Questions or follow-up requests were rejected, and at times I was not allowed to consult with my counsel.
All right.
Kind of
good enough.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Goes on and on. Indicating, of course, that if the media listened to his testimony, they would maybe be a little more less lenient. Yeah, well, they were informed. They knew everything. We briefed them hundreds of times.
It's not like he didn't actually say this in public, that it was on C-SPAN or anything. Like you could, kind of hear him say that or read even a transcript of what he said.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you're surprised is what you're saying.
I'm stunned.
If Don, Uncle Don, now known the uncle formerly known as Uncle Don, wrote he sent me an email. Do you think I should write a letter to the editor of the New York Times? And I think I probably fucked up.
What did you do?
Well, I said, yeah, but
you should have said no.
That's what I said. I said, no, I don't think it'll make any difference. I think the New York Times is all in on everything.
Yeah, and they're not going to run his letter.
Well, they did.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they did.
What did he say?
Would you like me to read it to you? It's not that long.
You're going to tease me, keep teasing me all day, the whole show?
To the editor regarding CIA director rebuts report calling interrogators patriots. Front page, December 12th. As someone who spent 31 years as a Central Intelligence Agency operations officer, 1951 to 1982, I speak in support of what John O. Brennan, the CIA director, tried to do on Thursday. He reminded us that the CIA works for the, notice he's saying the CIA, works for the executive branch of the government, and that the agency had been ordered by President George W. Bush to become both jailkeeper and interrogator of suspected terrorists, things it had never done before. In addition, the Bush administration's Attorney General, Albert R. Gonzales, aided by the Justice Department lawyer John C. Yu, constructed a legal framework, that's my favorite word, allowing, quote, enhanced interrogation techniques to be applied to selected prisoners, and asserting that these techniques, including waterboarding, did not amount to torture. Mr. Brennan's remarks raised the question of why the CIA was ordered to do these things in the first place. So you hear where he's going, right? During my career, including service in wartime Vietnam, the agency worked against torture, and I personally saw repeated evidence that humane interrogation produced far better results than torture, which sowed only confusion, shattered lives, and bitter feelings. I will say, when I read this paragraph, if he's telling me that he personally saw repeated evidence that humane interrogation produced far better results than torture, that means he must have witnessed the results of torture.
Yeah, you could infer that.
The painful answer to the question of why is that President Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney, having failed to prevent 9/11 in the first place, lost faith in America's ability to deal traditionally with the crisis that occurred on their watch, and ordered actions to be taken that are alien to the basic nature of our country. The question must be asked, why did we lose faith in ourselves, and what can be done to prevent that from happening again? Donald P. Gregg, writer's former United States ambassador to South Korea. And I told him, don't write it. It's gonna. First of all, who reads the letters to the editor?
Other letter writers.
Yeah, and the editor, presumably. Presumably,
maybe.
But it is true that.
Well, they got approved by the agency to go into the New York Times.
Well, there you go.
So he, if nothing else, he did get the CIA guys currently operating it.
So he's doing two things. He's saying,
he's got his attention, and maybe he can push a little bit for that North Korea thing.
Well, he's saying two things. One is Bush W, who he hated and hates, and Cheney.
Think highly of him either.
Blame it on them. No, he does not think highly of him. But the question he asked, I think although we can give him the answer, why did we lose faith in ourselves, and what can be done to prevent that from happening? We don't care. We watch movies where we're the badass. We got football games with military halftime and starts and jets, flyovers, flybys, and we are sadistic, militaristic jabronis.
Yeah.
And what can be done about it? Well,
I like it.
I don't think it can be turned back. Nah.
Well,
but anyway, so I told him don't do it, and then he did it, and I have a feeling that he's.
Well, I'm glad that he takes your advice. That's good.
there's the podcaster's influence on policy. Everybody. Yeah.
Now the point that my point is that I'm sick of these guys with this, and I'm so disappointed in Al Jazeera. I mean, I thought they were all in on attacking Feinstein in the report. And they had Woolsey on. I don't know whether they dug him up, but they did. And
well, what do you expect Al Jazeera to be doing?
Well, I thought they do. I mean, they do promote themselves as a little more newsy than the regular outlets.
Oh, please.
Okay. Oh. The only one that seems to be actually
newsy. That's it. That's actually a great way to do it. Al Jazeera, we're more newsy.
They are, or they were, or at least. Well, anyway, I've dropped down in my estimation. Meanwhile, if you go to some of these, here, play this one. Did you know this? I mean, there's all these different numbers flying around, but this is an analyst, and of course, this guy shows up on RT, and they're not playing the game because they're a bunch of propagandists for Russia.
They're newsy,
and they're actually not very newsy at all.
They're proppy,
but they have. This little guy comes on. I think he's Irish or something, or he's got a very strange accent because he can't pronounce certain things. But he comes on but he's an analyst for like a human rights guy. Plays 60 countries.
60 countries. Okie dokie. You don't know who he is? I like to look these people up. No.
We knew already, that we have done a global study together for the United Nations in 2010.
And we have ways of making them talk.
On secret detention in the fight against terrorism. And we identified 66 states around the world that have been using secret detention, and that means usually also torture, in the fight against terrorism. And of course, many of those states were closely related and cooperated with the United States of America.
Yes, you must understand that we have control of everybody in 2 times 33 countries. It sounds like it's Austrian.
66. So it's like, why even bother covering?
Can you name 66 countries?
I probably could.
It would take
a while if you want me to do it.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just surprised.
I'm pretty sure I can come up with 66.
Yeah. Well, just tying into this, unless you have some other big reveal you want.
No, I'm done. I've had it.
The president every year has to inform Congress, the entire Congress. I guess maybe it is just the House of Representatives, about the War Powers Resolution, how he's using the war powers. Which again is a resolution. Hey, remember you said I'd go ahead and you can all do, you can do some stuff a little bit. Your authorized use of military force. So he has to do this report. 6-month consolidated war powers resolution report. Man, we are in some great places. You want a little overview of what we're doing here?
Yeah, I'd love to know where we are.
This is good. Okay. Afghanistan, we currently have, I'm summarizing, obviously, we have 15,000 people stationed. The drawdown should take us to about 9,000 at the end of 2015.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, sure.
Did you notice, we talked about on the show before about how now Afghanistan is like producing 95% of the world's heroin. And
100. I thought it was over like 120% increase, and they're doing everything.
It's way up.
Yeah.
You think that's coincidental with what we observed earlier about the one guy they swapped Bergdahl for?
Oh yeah, he was the runner.
He's a superstar.
Yeah, the Taliban poppy superstar.
Yeah, he's a superstar. They bring him in. Boom, sales are up.
We should just call him a pop star.
Pop star.
Continue. Yeah, so approximately 15,000 U.S. forces in Afghanistan. We are on track to draw down to a force management level. I'm not quite sure what that means. But 9,800 by early 2015. But this may, it may fluctuate, overlap because we're rotating in or out, and fine, okay. We have a memorandum of understanding with the government to stay in there, hang out, and we'll be there for a while. Iraq and Syria, 3,100 personnel. And these, of course, are only providing training, communication support, intelligence support. The training means that you have a gun, you're standing next to the guy, and you're saying, "Watch how I do this." That's
about right.
Combat. Somalia, let's see, a small contingent. Small contingent.
Squeeze, don't pull.
Squeeze, don't pull. Hold your breath. So we have some special operations forces who work to counter the terrorist threat posed by Al-Qaeda. Oh, that'll be Al-Shabaab, of course. Yemen. Now, he's not giving numbers at this point. He's only just saying, we've been working closely with the government of Yemen to operationally dismantle and ultimately eliminate the terrorist threat posed by Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. I love how that Al-Qaeda group is just, so decimated. Cuba, of course, that would be Guantanamo Bay, where we still have 142 detainees. That was going to be closed, the Gitmo thing. Niger.
The bank.
Yeah. We have Niger, where we continue to provide support for intelligence collection and facilitate intelligence sharing with French forces conducting operations. We have in Chad. Is that how you pronounce it? Chad?
Chad.
You say Chad, really? Doesn't sound right.
What did I say?
We're intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance operations. Oh, of course, the Lord's Resistance Army. You'll recall that the Coney 2012, the video that went so bogative viral, everybody was talking about it. We've got Ospreys in there. We have 300 guys.
Can't catch that guy, Coney.
300, because it's not about Coney. But okay, yes, it's all about the LRA affected areas. So we have 2 Ospreys. We've got 300 troops in there who, of course, are only working to partner with the Ugandan forces. Egypt, 700 military personnel, but I think they're pretty much just to receive the sales shipments. It's just a sales office, I think, in Egypt. Hey, we got the new stuff in you guys ordered. Jordan, 1,700 U.S. military personnel. They will remain in Jordan in full coordination with the government of Jordan until the security situation becomes such they are no longer needed. Well, that would be pretty much never. Yeah. Kosovo. We are still in Kosovo.
Oh.
Since when did that end, the Kosovo theater?
99, I'm not sure.
We have almost 5,000 people there.
Wow. Cool.
For KFOR. The Kosovo.
Yeah, we got interests that got to be protected.
And then let's see, we have Yemen. He's going to send more people to Yemen. We have Libya, of course. We've got to have more security in Libya. Central Africa. Well, as I noted, embassy personnel, U.S. forces supporting their security were relocated outside Libya to support the safe departure of the embassy staff. So it's for extraction purposes. And also, we need, that'll be overland through Tunisia. So we have U.S. military aircraft and additional military personnel. And those forces will eventually leave, but I don't see that happening very soon. But it feels like it's not everything. There's no mention of Japan, or I think we still have the base in Germany.
Oh, yeah. No, we have a lot of people in Germany.
So why I guess that doesn't have to be in the report. This is only based upon the authorized use of military force. This is not the historical stuff that we had laying around.
Right. This has to be, I guess this report only referred to since that authorization for military force went through. This is the result.
Yeah.
Germany's not the result of this. It's been there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As some say, the war would never officially ended. That's the thing that's been going around for a while. There was no
war.
The Second World War. There was no actual document that said, okay, it's all over.
Yeah, there was.
I'm just telling you what's going around. If you search around, you'll see that there's some theory about this.
If you search around, you'll see that the aliens won the war.
No, only the reptilians. Obviously.
Yeah, and the Queen. She's actually the ruler of the world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Well, so today is an interesting date. And we knew, well, actually, yesterday was an interesting date. 12, 13, 14. This is not only does this happen once in a century, that is, of course, by the American date depiction system. If you are in other parts of the world, it would be 13, 12, 14. Doesn't quite work. But it's also the date.
And there's no 13, 14, 15 coming up because you don't have. Right. It's just no good.
It also is compiled of only the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, which apparently also is some other which it's a special date. And we decided to make use of this, and it kind of worked.
Well, we got 4 takers.
Well, then let me thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there. I wonder if any subs in the water are listening anymore.
Well, not when they're in the water, unless they've got the Periscope depth.
No, you download and submerge.
In the morning to all of our human resources there in the chat room, listening on the stream, noagendastream.com is where you want to be. Thank you to our artists. We had the Fake Sal Lizard, who came in with the artwork for 677.
And Comic Strip Blogger gets credit for the newsletter. He was on that we took that art for that.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this
I've decided to start thanking them because I've been using
That's a good idea.
Art.
That's a good idea. Which one did he put in the news? Did you have of his in the newsletter?
Just a generic one.
Oh, cool. So the one on 677 was Hayden as with the Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny. Yeah. We
coming out of it.
we tortured some, which of course I think I get to play the clip then, just so we have that.
That's how we go. That's how we roll.
That's all, folks.
And that's the story.
Now, what was the deal with this special 121314?
Before I explain that, I want to say something about Hayden.
Okay.
I don't know. I remember he was with Rodriguez about a year ago. He clipped us. He was at some meeting, and the two of them were defending all this with it works. It's great. We got good intelligence, got Bin Laden, all the rest. And I saw him and watched him talk, and I saw him on a couple other things about a year ago. Then I saw him like right yesterday kind of thing. He was on some show, and he was there. He looks unhealthy. His face has gotten really fat.
And he's got all these tics and all this.
He's got a bunch of tics. He must be a wreck. He must really be worried.
Why do you think they sent him out? Why is he the punching bag for all this? Why is he the defender?
I think he was at the peak of it. I think when they did the feeding, the hummus up the butt stuff, that was all his doing. I mean, Tenet seems.
Let me stop you right there. That was a medical procedure, John.
Tenet was.
Hey, baby, I got.
You're not a doctor.
Hey,
I'm not a doctor.
I got a medical procedure for you. Yeah.
I've got an injection. You're gonna like it.
Mm-hmm. Just a tip.
Tenet set it up, and he was just a liar. And then I think it was the short termer that came in after that, and then Hayden. I think he was the third in the group.
Right.
And I think it was his responsibility to clean up the mess.
Of course, the crazy thing is he was also NSA. He was NSA and CIA. So it's possible.
Yeah, he was like a career spy.
That you have the NSA saying, you better not say this, or you better say that. And the CIA going, you better not say that. And he's just torn, being ripped to shreds by two competing camps.
That's a possibility. I don't know what it is. Whatever the case is, he doesn't look like he feels. It looks like something's up with him.
Yeah. It may be time for.
Maybe he's worried they got a gun pointed at his head. I don't know.
Maybe he had tickets for a nice European holiday, and he's thinking, "No, that's such a good idea."
I would
on a cruise.
Kind of think twice about those European holidays.
Can you imagine not being worried about traveling outside the U.S. for fear of being arrested and by the International Criminal Court?
Can you imagine being George Bush and not giving a damn?
Oh, yeah, easy. No, that's easy.
Yeah, I don't know. Screw it. I don't like traveling anyway. What's wrong with just like my mother?
I like that.
Why are you going overseas? There's good things to see here.
Go to the Alamo.
I've been to the Alamo. I like the Alamo.
I hear Corpus is lovely this time of year.
The Alamo is actually worth checking out.
It's very well. And they have a...
and What's interesting about the Alamo to me is it's so small.
You know, Phil Collins has an entire collection of Alamo memorabilia on display at the Alamo.
What? Oh, at the Alamo?
Yeah. He donated all these. I don't know if it's on loan or permanent loan. He has an entire Alamo collection. Phil Collins.
Phil Collins?
Yeah. I know. It's strange.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And more useless trivia right here on your No Agenda show with traffic and weather on the 8s.
Talked about is that we have 4 people that came up with the 21314 donation, and so they will be named. It'll be the first one that came in, as far as I can tell, and that's the one we're going to put right away, and then the other ones will follow. Was Sir David Foley? It'd be Sir David Foley Presents, name of the show, and so we have 4 people that will get that special credit.
But wouldn't it be his son? Just looking at the donation, I think he made his son London. It's
nice
honorary for him.
He gave the donation in. Well, let me look at it.
Yeah.
Well, let's thank everybody first, and then we'll decide.
Now, does this go for the next X amount of episodes? Will we do this
every? Yeah, next 4 episodes.
Oh, great! Love it.
Sir Don Tommaso di Toronto came in from Kettleby, Ontario, Canada, 141213. Kind of a back-assward version of what we're trying to do here. Here's a John's Date challenge, but in proper ANSI format.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And with this, he becomes a duke.
Yeah, he's a duke. I'm way past dukedom. Maybe I should get a ring. He doesn't have a ring? Karma for Sir Don, No Agenda Nation /rings.
I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Well, he probably didn't go in and fill out the form.
No, I think he did, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I really, really don't know.
Whatever the case.
But yeah.
It's also possible that the Canadian Postal Service keeps stealing them.
This does have. He needs karma. That's what he wants. Let me hand out the karma first of all.
For the donors.
You've got karma.
Very nice.
Meanwhile, Sir Thomas Nussbaum.
Hey.
Who's up there in rankings? 121314, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Finally, some donors in Virginia. Happy holidays to the whole No Agenda entourage. Hugs and kisses to Adam and Mickey, John and Mimi from Baron Nussbaum, St. Nicole, and Dame Sid. Sequential numbers do not come along often, if ever at all.
Right.
Let me read that right. Sequential numbers do not come along often, if ever at all. To those thinking it's 13, 12, 14, which would be the European thing, fuck off, you're wrong. What he said. That was a quote.
Yeah, exactly. I want to hugs and kisses. Let's hand the karma back to him and St. Nicole. I think that would be appropriate.
You've got karma.
Great. Now, who was... Okay, you already told me. Next, we have...
Riechmeister. 121314, which is I'd like my name and location withheld. Okay. He should be known as Sir Riechmeister of Divide by Zero. I've been a listener since June. I've made No Agenda a major part of my life, and to keep listening without making any contribution, I feel very bad about it. I'll admit, when I started listening to your show, I was completely lost. The two of you kept talking about people I've never heard of. Clippity-clop.
Well, don't worry. You'll know about her soon enough. It's all coming back again. Yeah.
Marie Harf this, Jen Psaki that, a guy named Haiku who's not Japanese, and what's a noodleman? This, of course, being the result of the mainstream media keeping me ignorant. Exactly.
Bingo. Boom,
I want to thank the two of you for providing news analysis that's not found in the mainstream media. You both worked very hard in providing us this information, which is why I feel bad if I continued listening without making a contribution.
I think that
I have to say, getting my news from Adam Curry is a bit surreal. When I was a kid, I used to watch Adam on MTV, and he was my favorite VJ.
Hey.
He was my favorite VJ. Media personalities come and go, but having Adam in my life by being a No Agenda listener is as if I'm bringing back a part of my childhood I thought was gone. I don't know how to explain it, but it's pretty cool. I could use some job karma. I haven't had a stable career since September 2008. I'd like to get some job security starting in the new year. By the way, I'm Indian.
Oh.
Am I the first Indian to be knighted?
Well, I don't think it counts if you're living in California. You have to be in Lahore or something.
In India.
In India, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're less Indian than...
Yeah, look, you just donated.
Not talking about.
No.
We're talking about the 700 million in a democracy, I guess maybe a billion by now, half of which probably speak good English or good enough English to listen to the show, and probably a third of them do listen to the show. They never donate. They never contribute except one guy ever.
You don't think he means Native American, do you? You think it really means Indian? Indian, that's from India.
Riechmeister. I don't know what Indian he means. Native American usually don't call themselves Indians.
I don't think so. Well, except Pocahontas.
Well, Pocahontas does. Yeah.
There's another name. People go, who is Pocahontas?
Pocahontas. What are they talking about?
All right, we will be knighting you, Sir Riechmeister of Divide by Zero, later during the ceremony, and very much looking forward to that.
Jobs.
Here's what you wanted.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Citizens and slaves of Gitmo Nation, please rise in recognition of Sir David Foley, Grand Duke of the United States of America. Fuck yeah.
Our Grand Duke.
All right. ITM, gentlemen, enclosed, please find an Insta-Night special donation. I would like to apply this. This is our Grand Duke, Sir David Foley. I would like to apply this for my son London's knighthood to ensure that the generation carry on propagating the formula. Please have some root beer and pepperoni pizza at the round table.
All right. All righty then, if we must. I got that. Well, this is cool.
Well, I think he needs karma. We think we should definitely do that.
Does he need karma? Well, he's a kid. All kids today need karma.
Yeah, but for reasons, special reasons, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I hear you.
He's 6.
You've got karma.
Nice.
All right. Now that was our group, and we have to decide. That was our group of super producers, and from what I can tell, I don't know. I never thought of asking Foley. Maybe I can send him a note and see what he.
What's the question?
The question is Sir David Foley presents this show?
Oh no, it's Sir. No, I don't think so. It's Sir London Foley presents this show.
Okay, we'll do that if he wants to. We can change it. We'll always change. It's not impossible.
Well, no, it's a pain in the ass, but it's not impossible.
No, well, I know, but for Foley, we have to go through the pain.
What, you want a testicle? Here you go, Foley. Here.
Okay, let's see if Biglin actually sent something in.
Harry Biglin. Do I need to check?
Yes, you should, just in case.
Okay, let me see.
Biglin. Donation note for show 678.
There you go. I got it too.
Gentlemen, thank you for your courage. John, please editorialize my note for the show as you see fit. Oh, okay, then I can read it as well. It's not that long. But Henry Biglin from Kew Gardens, New York, $678.90. Note for the show, please accept my 678. So he's a 678 club member. Mm-hmm. Donation of the best podcast in the universe for $678.90 as a contribution to my previous donation of $12345. This is my share of the NYC police civil rights violation settlement tax that I think can be better spent.
Yeah.
Holding up my end of the value for value model during the holiday season, this donation should bring me to Viscount.
Oh. All right. Let me just make sure I have that reflected in the
accounting link below. I would claim Queens, New York for my expanded lands with all its rights and privileges. Thank you for your excellent deconstructions of all the news with a sense of humor that keeps me sane.
Now, he wanted what? He wanted Queens?
Queens
and all its what?
I would claim Queens, New York for my expanded lands with all its rights and privileges.
I just like saying that. I shall give you Queens, New York with all its rights, lands, and privileges. Nice.
All right.
Perfect.
The jingle. Can I have a JCD dealer's choice followed by and her head is gone, which is what I would have picked. Karma. So let me think. What would be a good one that we haven't done for a while? How about what we haven't heard for a long time is the theme, the musical theme, Clippity Clop.
Clippity Clop.
Yeah, Clippity Clop.
Yeah, no. Oh, did you hear that?
No, what?
I did a yeah-no.
Oh, I didn't hear. I really am sorry because I should be catching all those.
All right, Clippity Clop, and then her head is gone in that order with the karma chaser.
It's Clippity Clop.
The message is clear.
Just Clippity Clop.
And her head is gone.
You've got karma.
Yeah, it worked out.
They work nicely together.
Yeah, I like that. All right, onward. As I click around. Sir Otaku in Louisville, Texas, 678.90. Holy cow! A second member of the 678 Club.
And a special 6789 sequential number bonanza.
Yeah, 67890.
Nice.
Who knew? I never even thought of this. We should have suggested it to people. Two guys picked it out of the smart two knights.
Obviously.
Decided, look at this. Uh-oh. Sir Otaku's drunk.
Perfect.
Yes, I'm drunk. Otherwise, I wouldn't donate so much. But you guys deserve every penny. You're always on the money about the media and how it's screwing us over and with his misdirection. I think you deserve more. But I'm a mere slave and can only give up so much before I have to give blood to get you some more pennies. I would ask you to give me a birthday shout out on December 31st, but you will forget since so far down the road. So give me a birthday love now. Put him on the list.
Okay.
Birthday love now, and I will hold on to it till I get another year older. Also, don't forget, coming up at the end of January, we will be in the first annual No Agenda Show QSO party.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll not be able to get both of you and Adam on the air, so everyone can get their points for the elusive creator credits. If not, there will be a bunch of us producers that will be on the airwaves to help boost the points. Please keep up the good work and the best podcast in the universe, and send some mac and cheese, Karma, because I need to buy more grain to brew a couple more beers. If you ever make it to the Dallas area, the beer and barbecue is on me. Sir Otaku KF5SVR.
The QSO party is going to be fun. You know how it works, right?
Yeah.
So there will be points for the bonus points will be if someone can do a QSO with you or I.
Oh.
All right. So the way it works, you get points for making contact with other people participating in the contest, and then you get extra points for like if it's a sir, if it's a knight, or if it's a dame. You get extra points for different modes, like Morse code CW would be extra points. For wow, that's how geeky is that?
You're pretty geeky.
That's worse than Dungeons and Dragons, man.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese, cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
You've got karma.
Man, oh man. I think it makes me sound pretty damn pathetic.
No.
That I'm all into that.
No.
I mean, how many chicks are going, ooh, QSO party? No, zero.
There's probably one.
Zero. No. Especially not the one here.
Eye rolling. Women love this because it gives them plenty of exercise for their eyeballs. They spin them around, and then it actually improves your vision very slightly.
That's
so
right.
You're doing the female gender a favor.
QSO parties give you facial exercise.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
All right. I do not have and cannot find a Christopher Dolan note.
Let me check. From Berlin? Oh, Berlin,
Connecticut.
Let me see if I've got a Christopher Dolan.
And Christopher Dolan came in with 34567 Berlin, Connecticut. And he's a sir, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't care.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mark Lay, anyway, 34567 from Christopher, Sir Christopher. Mark Lay, Long Eaton, Derbyshire, UK, 345. Another commuter contribution from Derbyshire, UK. Cannot believe some of the reports and legislation you cover that our news media doesn't seem to feel should be covered. Can I have a trains good, jobs karma? Also, a bit of info I heard early in 2004 relating to the price of gas increasing in the United States if exports of LPG tankers begins due to the world market price of gas being higher than the local market. Just another bit of speculation in the energy market merry-go-round. Okay.
I'm not quite sure what that meant.
He was thinking, if you remember this, there was a big kind of a push that, we're going to start sending, because liquid natural is expensive. The Russians are going to cut them off. We need to send our gas from the United States to Europe, and that's going to jack up our prices. And it turns out just the opposite happened.
Yeah.
All aboard, trains good, planes bad. Woo-hoo.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Before we move on, John, I got a note here. Most people outside the United States, and probably most people in the United States, do not exactly know what the Alamo is. Can you do a two-line description?
Don't they remember the Alamo?
You're supposed to remember the Alamo. Gosh darn it. Can you help us out here?
It was a fort in Texas on the border at the time with Mexico. Actually, it was in Mexican territory, I believe. But then the Texans were taking over. The Republic of Texas was taking over the place with a bunch of punks running out the Mexicans. And the Mexican military was screwed up. And there was a big fight over the Alamo. And what was noteworthy about it, they had all these very famous people that later became Disney characters. That's the most important thing. Like Daniel Boone was in the Alamo. And the Mexicans surrounded the place. They had him outnumbered, and they killed everybody. All of them. Everybody in the Alamo was killed.
By Mexicans?
No, the Americans were all killed.
Oh, okay, good.
The Mexicans won.
You made it sound
and
right.
Then we came back. Did a comeback and rousted the Mexicans eventually, and made Texas what it is, kind of. And it was Sam Austin and these famous people. And
wait, was that Yosemite Sam, another character?
Yosemite Sam Austin. And then you end up with the phrase, because of the Alamo. Remember the Alamo, where all these people were butchered by these horrible Mexicans. And now, of course, the state is mostly Mexicans anyway, so I guess it didn't work out. But whatever the case,
Thank you. That's all. That's good. We just need, and I think because of the Disney movies, I think that's really why people still remember the
Disney movies is the reason this whole thing anyone makes. Yeah.
In fact, that's why the phrase exists. Remember the Alamo, Disney.
Yeah, probably.
It's subliminal.
Patrick from some place in Washington, 33333. We haven't seen that for a while. Hey, John and Adam, this donation should put me over into knighthood category. I'd like this opportunity to propose a new order of pseudonymous knights. And he wants to call it the Order of Pugner. This probably is the guy who sends in the Mark Pugner donations.
Could be.
Somebody does. But you know that what they do is they send in like a post office mail order thing, usually for $69.69, and in the corner of the envelope says Mark Pugner, parts unknown.
Right.
Is actually
That's good. That's funny.
Every bit helps.
Now, how do we deal with this pseudonymous knights? The Order of Pugner.
Order of pseudonymous knights. I think. Well, you could call it just the. I think he suggested the Order of the Pugner. So he's a Sir Patrick Order of the Pugner.
Order of the Pugner. Got it. I got it. It's on the list, too. We're good.
Sir Norman McDonough in Woodstock, Ontario, came in with $300. This should be taking me to my second. I want to thank all these people, by the way, for coming up on this show, because we were very short last time.
That really helps.
This should take me to my second knighthood. Is that a baronet? Yes. I fell away from contributing and even listening. This is a problem we have. But I try to make it up this year, and I'm back as an avid listener. I lost my way, thanks to the media. I do love your show. May I have anything from Reverend Al and a stuttering Obama Porky Pig? That's how we roll.
Okay. And he wants an Al?
An Al, stuttering, and how we roll.
Okay. I'm sorry. There was something that just came in on the email from one of our knights. So I'm trying to do double duty here.
There's no real conflict. That's how we go. That's how we roll.
That's all, folks.
And that's the story.
You've got karma.
This is interesting. Please credit donation to Sir Hank.
That tells me nothing.
No, forget it. It's all good. I got it. Sir Hank, I'm good to go. I'm just looking at. I'm doing the newswire. I'm the receptionist.
Yeah, you're plugged in, man. Plugged in.
I'm the producer of the show. I produce the technical director.
I don't know how you do it.
Receptionist. I'm the
Trevor Mudge from Ann Arbor, Michigan. $300. I listen to your show when traveling. I'm about to go Blighty for a week, so here's something to cover my coming travels. Thanks for the show.
He's going to Blighty. To Blighty. It's the UK.
Blighty is in the UK?
That is the UK. It's slang for the UK. Blighty.
I'm going to Blighty, and that means he's going to the UK?
Yes, it does.
Huh.
You didn't know?
He's from Michigan, from Ann Arbor. How would he know this phrase?
Maybe he's from Blighty. Mudge would seem a bit
Mudge, yes, Mudge is definitely Mr. Mudge.
Trevor Mudge in attendance.
Stan Salisbury. 270, 275, Gainesville, Florida. Special numbers day for me and the best podcast in the universe on this day, on this last sequential date of this century, 12, 13, 14, which is true. I hereby declare my having freely reached no agenda knighthood on show 678. It's taken me 5 years, but I finally made it.
I love these stories.
I appreciate all the dedication and hard work from John and Adam gives to the No Agenda show and making it a quality product. I'm proud to be one of the No Agenda producers of show 678. For my knighting, you can name me Sir Stan of Kingswood. To all the No Agenda listeners, please have a Merry Christmas and keep on shopping. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep on supporting the show. Keep on supporting the show. Sincerely, Stan Salisbury, Gainesville, Florida. Richard Moffat, and I could not find a note from, I don't think, wait a minute. No. This came in the mail. Yeah, right. It did, I think. Richard Moffat never sends notes. He just sends checks.
Okay.
Richard Moffat, 25316, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sir Alan Bowes in Langley, British Columbia. Langley, British Columbia. $250. Good morning, gentlemen. Here's one more. You haven't gotten any donations from Langley, Virginia?
I don't think we have, no.
Here's one more installment towards my upgrade to Baron. I'm now only a few dollars away. Did you have him down there as Baron? Only a few dollars away. It would sound good to be the Baron of British Columbia. Okay. The Baron of British Columbia.
I don't think we have. Okay, this is, let me just write down. Richard Moffat? No, I'm sorry. Who are we doing?
Alan Bowes.
Sir Alan Bowes. And that's interesting why he's not on the list.
Yeah, who knows?
That's okay. Let me just write it down. What does he become?
The Baron of British Columbia.
Of course.
I believe that covering an area of 365,000 square miles is going to wear out my old Lincoln. And the gas bill. I deplore some more BCers to help out and share the responsibility. The whole province is up for grabs. I just want part of the lower mainland. I don't need the province.
Oh, the challenge, the glove has been thrown down.
Yeah. Have a great Christmas and keep up the excellent deconstruction and entertainment.
Thank you, Sir Alan.
Sir Chris Spears in Austin, Texas, right up the road from you. 23456, one of my favorites. Hi, John and Adam. As always, I hope this small bit of value for value finds you well. I was compelled to donate with my birthday falling on 12/13/14. As a knight, I assume it my divine right to call other listeners out.
You bet.
I would like to single out Benjamin F. Fields. Not donating at a level appropriate for a man of means. I'd like to thank Patrick F. Hamilton for becoming a producer.
Nice.
All right. Dame Astrid, 23456, and she did send an email, which I don't have.
Dame Astrid of she's Viscount.
Yes, Viscount Dame Astrid.
Tokyo.
But still, I think you still call her Dame.
I have the note. If you
yes, play the note.
Shall I? Let me play the note. You even replied to the note with a smiley face.
Play the note.
Dear John, dear Adam, being an addicted No Agenda listener and having done my homework by reading Sinclair Lewis's book, It Can't Happen Here, I am more than saddened to report that despite unusually wide protests, albeit not as vociferous as the Umbrella Revolution, the new state secret law has been enforced in Japan last week. We are now one step closer to a true shut-up slavedom. What are we to do? I can't hit people in the mouth around me. My daughter and her peers I can't hit the people around me, my daughter and her peers in the mouth fast enough to bring them to their senses. This is when John, the C stands for Chick Magnet Dvorak, gives me some relief and makes me laugh like I hadn't in a long time. Thank you for your commitment and all your dedicated hard work. Listening to you, I would not miss it for the world. Dame Astrid, Viscountess of Tokyo, getting friendly with the sheep so I can easier follow the herd. And she did a nice picture of her and sheep.
Yeah, picture of her with a sheep.
I wonder what it was that made her laugh so much.
Who knows? James K. But she's a great person.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yes. James, and a fantastic architect.
Hell yeah.
James Cates in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Another Virginian.
I'm just going to give Dame Ass a little bit of karma. A little bit of Abe secret karma.
You've got karma.
She needs that. She sounds like it's really... think about it. When you're really down and depressed and the only thing to save you is you.
James Cates in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23333.
Drunk.
Another drunk donation, apparently. And he wants you to read, obviously, because it says, drunk. You provide the only reasonable dissection of reality going on, and I punch a lot of peeps in the mouth, but I get a lot of guff. But I won't stop keeping on, though. I want to hang on this a good... Can I get a little kid hot MILF from my MILF Lisa Lynn and a karma, please?
He must have sent me 100 emails. And I kept, at a certain point, I just I do a smiley face back or LOL. I thought you could do better than LOL. That's very funny. It's funny when people are drunk emailing you. It's pretty cool.
That's one hot MILF, baby.
You betcha. Uh-huh. Look at her.
You've got
Lisa Lynn.
karma.
Thank you very much, James.
Anonymous from Herpen, Herpen? How do you pronounce it? Herpen? Hairpin.
Hairpin. Really. Hairpin. No, you kind of swallow the R. Hairpin.
Pin.
Yeah.
200.
Netherlands.
Hi, guys. I've been investing money using your great analysis. Here's your cut for this month.
Wow.
Small portfolio. Hope it grows fast so I can give you more support.
When have we given stock tips?
I don't know. I don't remember doing it. We're not supposed to.
No.
It's against the law.
Yeah.
Richard Riley, Loomis, California, final associate executive producer at $200. You guys are great. For saying that, he should get a karma. Give him one.
Yeah, happy to give him a karma. Bingo, boom.
You've got karma.
I want to thank all these folks and knights and sirs and viscounts and barons and dukes for helping us out here on show 678. And I want to remember that we do have another show on Thursdays. Or Thursdays have somehow now gotten light. I don't know why. Yeah, so we have a show on Thursday. Go to Dvorak.org/NA or the channel Dvorak.com is down. It's going to be down until Eric fixes it. Oh. And because there's issues with all the RSS. It was an RSS-driven site.
Yeah, headless Drupal. That'll screw you every single time.
You can go to if you can't get to Dvorak.org/NA, which should be able to, you can go to the No Agenda Show or NoAgendaNation.com and click on the donate buttons there.
Beautiful. This is great. We will be putting them in chronological order. We'll be presenting the episodes. It'll be the next 4 episodes will be presented by one of our special Insta super producer nights today, or super producers, I should say. That's really appreciated. That really brought up the average for the past couple weeks. So thank you very much. Yeah, real credits. Is there something called what do we have above executive producer in Hollywood? Don't we have? Isn't it created by or something?
No, I don't think that's above. I think when you
just presents like
so and so presents.
What was the guy who was Jay?
He's still an exexecutive producer, but he gets his name up at the top.
Right.
It's like they had at one point Hollywood had gone nuts, and they had all these
Jay Connolly presents.
Yeah,
Ironside, Cannonball, whatever it was. Yeah.
And then you had my favorite one, which was I haven't seen for a while, but it used to be in, where you'd have all the names, and then one of the names of whatever he was doing was in a box.
Ooh, yeah.
You ever seen the box?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and then the box has disappeared.
It's the box of pleasure. Yeah. Aaron Spelling presents. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, thank you very much, and do remember us for the Thursday show.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And all kinds of contributions are appreciated, including going out there and propagating our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing.
Yeah. I realized, I think we have realized this before, but now it's really getting on my nerves. If we live in this internet age, this computing age, I mean, your commercials are filled with Cisco will be bringing you the Internet of Everything. Your tennis shoes will, when they're worn out, they'll report back to home base, and Cisco is going to help you get new tennis shoes that are designed for the way you use them, and all of this stuff. We need need to have actual reporting on the issues at hand. And as you know, what is my biggest pet peeve in all reporting, particularly when it comes to technology, and I'll say technology reporting, not tech, because tech equals phones. Tech equals phones. That's tech reporting today is really lifestyle reporting. Of course, my biggest pet peeve is the use of the word glitch. It is not a technical term. It is not appropriate in today's world for news organizations such as Associated Press, such as The Guardian, anyone to use the word glitch as an explanation for what went wrong. It's just not. It's not okay.
I like it. I'm going to use it to extreme. There
was a glitch in London, the UK, I should say, on Friday. But of course, Friday is very busy time.
Oh yeah. I was hoping you were going to give us a discussion of this.
Yeah,
the glitch.
And the glitch. What happened is it really fouled up the Friday travel. But the way you may have heard this report or read about it, John, I think the way it came across is, air traffic control went down. Planes were going to crash into each other. It was just horrible. And that is nothing could be further from the truth. And it's even more cool when these glitches, are about aviation, because of course I know some of that as I'm a licensed aviator. This is regarding the NATS. This is the and I've used the NATS. In general, it is for filing flight plans and manages flight plans for UK aviation. It does, connect into, of course, Eurocontrol, but it's not the guys, the controllers talking to planes. It's not the radar system. In fact, have you ever been in a tower, John? Have you ever?
Yes, I have.
And you've probably heard of the term slots.
Yeah, I know the term slots.
Okay.
You put yourself in your plane, you're in a slot, you're going to land at a certain point.
Or takeoff or landing. Right, you're in a slot. And if you've ever been in a tower, and I believe pretty much every tower still has this, they should. It may even be regulation. They have a board with a whole bunch of rectangular wooden sticks. And there's a gaffer, like little masking tape on them, and they'll write down flight numbers, and they can slide these sticks up and down into a sequence, so you know who's next for landing, who was supposed to be coming next.
And it's a World War II tower you were at?
I think all towers still basically have this. In fact, they didn't see it. They resorted back to this, I'm pretty sure, when this glitch took place. And what happened is they couldn't the system went down. Now this is big mainframe. This is IBM S390, and this kind of hardware, I would say you would know more about that than I do. That hardware, unless it really blows up, it just grinds forever. This is mainframe stuff, and of course lots of things. The whole aviation industry probably runs still mostly on that, which is why when you get a ticket, if you put your name in, you do a reservation, your ticket comes back with all caps. You've noticed this? That's because you're going into a mainframe. The mainframe doesn't know upper or lower case for a lot of these procedures. So something went wrong with it. Had to be the software, since these hardware things don't go down. And what really happened is the flight plans became unavailable to the system, to the crew system, so to the air traffic control. So at a certain point, they have to resort back to the old way of doing things. They can still see everybody. No one's going to go crashing down. But that does mean they have to slow stuff down and delay things after, I think it's an 8 or 10 minute delay. And really, there's something that went wrong. And I'm going to assert that the technology being put in place, and there's a lot we're looking at here in the United States, certainly the next gen, where really would be flying without pilots or whatever, that we are being duped into spending more money on systems that probably aren't going to work very well. And I found two things. I found what I believe to be the real problem. And remember, you're talking about a mainframe, which takes very, very specific instructions, and it can be sent into a spin, you can screw it up. You can confuse the system if the data you enter somehow the code is not written to reject incorrect entry. And what I got from a pretty obscure message board with who I believe is an insider at the NAT system, there was not one but 2 flight plans were entered, and probably through the internet gateway, which is now kind of jerry-rigged onto this thing, were entered incorrectly at the same time, and the system just shut down, but it had already spun off its data dump to the backup system, so it had the exact same problem, and they had to go resort to the manual slot system, and the papers, I think that there's still probably printouts of a lot of these flight plans. And here's the CEO of the company that runs this, Richard Deacon, and this is a public-private partnership, so this is why I don't like it. So there's profit making, but it's a non-compete kind of contract. It's a very typical system for government with private enterprise, and I don't think it's very good. But he really took it to a level that was just so funny. And of course, he has no idea what's going on, and he's now going to explain to us to take it beyond the glitch. And I think this is a model for CEOs in the future as things do come crashing down. This is how you're going to explain it away.
So the problem was, as your report described, when we had additional terminals brought into use. And we had a software problem that we haven't seen before, which resulted in the computer that looks after the flight plans effectively going offline.
Okay, but on this particular problem, have you actually identified what the software issue was? Is it fixed?
Yes, we have. There are about 50 different systems at Swanwick, our main operations centre, and over 4 million lines of code. So we've found the...
See, this is supposed to impress you. There were 4 million lines of code, please. There's a lot. Go ahead and write some lines of code.
Line of code that caused the problem. That's effectively been rectified, and I can assure your viewers that this particular problem is not going to reoccur.
So how long has that line of code been sitting there? I mean, like a sort of ticking time bomb.
The line of code was just sitting there, just like a ticking time bomb waiting to be activated.
Well, some of the systems, as you say, are fairly elderly. They don't really go back to the 1960s. The system that we had a problem with last night has code that was written in the early 90s. Having said that, we are investing a huge amount of new technology.
Here it comes. Be very afraid when you hear what's happening now.
So we typically invest around £140 million per annum.
Send them more.
Over the next 5 years, we're spending another £575 million to bring our systems up to date with the latest Single European Skies programme, which has just been launched last week.
And wait for it.
And the UK has very much a leading role in that. So over the next 5 years, we're going to be moving more towards internet-based systems, which are very modern, much more resilient than the systems that we currently use.
I knew you'd like that. Do not move to an internet-based system. It will not be more resilient.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Now, of course, I still don't really have...
hacked immediately.
Yeah, I still don't have any real information, but I think someone needs to step up, and there needs to be a way for reporters to go, okay, so I'll buy your one line of code in millions. So,
that's nonsense. Who cares? There's a line of code that took the data in wrong or something. What difference does it make? That's always going to happen. That's never going to end. That's just the way it is. So what? So that's not even newsworthy. But the idea that they're going to put everything to an internet-based system, I mean, why don't you just shoot yourself?
I love how he says it. We're moving towards an internet-based system for resilience. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That reminds me of many a story.
Well, you want to hit me with one?
I think it took too long to get to the point. You should have just put that right up front, and we could have moaned and groaned. I didn't realize it was so banal.
Yeah. One line of code.
Well, yeah. It was. I thought it may be something more interesting than that. That's boring. But that internet thing that's pretty outrageous. I mean, what are they thinking? It's going to be hacked. In fact, it's going to be such a great target.
Well, again, this is why it's a private-public partnership. This guy's
they go on and
raising money. It's just raising money.
Go on and on and on and on with all these guys. We've heard a million hours of testimony. Oh, cyber this, cyber that, and we have all these guys that don't really know anything about cyber.
I think they also passed the cyber bill.
The cyber bill.
Yeah.
What difference does it make? As Hillary would say, what difference does it make?
Well, this is the
you can't stop these hackers.
This is the Homeland, the Cybersecurity Critical Infrastructure Protection Bill.
That means it doesn't protect anything?
Correct.
One?
This is the
one that's actually just a bonanza for guys like Richard, what's his name, and all these other so-called experts that are going to, Richard Clark.
Yeah.
And all these ex-tech experts that were in Congress. They don't know anything about how you can turn on a computer, and they're going to be running certain consulting operations.
Well, if you're interested, I can give you...
make a fortune.
If you're interested, I can give you a quick rundown. This was this is the National Cybersecurity and Critical Infrastructure Protection Act of 2014, and this is what we've been looking at for a while now. This is the cyber sharing, the sharing of information, if you'll recall. And this all falls under Subtitle C, Cybersecurity Information Sharing. So the government will be sharing with private industry in the following sectors: chemical, commercial facilities, which is not defined. I guess commercial facilities could be anything. Communications, critical manufacturing, dams, defense, industrial base, emergency services, energy, which is pretty much everything else, financial services. So the government now will be sharing information with your bank more than they do already. Food and agriculture, government facilities, healthcare and public health, information technology, nuclear reactors, materials and waste, transportation systems, which the bus, water and wastewater systems, and such other sectors as the Secretary determines appropriate. So just pretty much everything. And each sector-specific agency shall recognize at least one, this is what we got to pay attention to, information sharing and analysis center. So this is what we're going to be building. Information and analysis centers, which will be these, I guess, centers of excellence.
We've got this road out here, Highway 80, and it goes through Oakland.
Oh, no, it's not the potholes.
There's potholes all over the place. And Oakland's a joke. If you drive through Oakland on the I guess it's the 880 that goes down there through Oakland, you might as well have your ball joints replaced every time you take a trip down here. Why aren't they fixing these highways? And when I was in Los Angeles the last time, I didn't realize that Los Angeles is worse. And some of the ritziest parts of town, the roads are just
horrible. No, it's horrible. I know.
Horrible, crappy roads. But, we're going to build a bunch of bull crap for no good reason? This is like up in Port Angeles, there's a big, giant Homeland Security headquarters because of all the Mexicans coming down from Canada.
Yeah.
And they got these guys, and they got overstaffed. The building costs a lot of money. I'm just not seeing that they're spending their money wisely.
Section 205 is the only piece I wanted to pull out and just discuss with you. I think the language is interesting. So in all this information sharing between these sectors, which is pretty much everything, and the government, Section 205 is the prohibition on collection activities to track individuals' personally identifiable information. So this is what it would not be allowed to occur. Nothing in this act shall permit the Department of Homeland Security to engage in the monitoring, surveillance, exfiltration, or other collection activities for the purpose of tracking an individual's personally identifiable information. And I think you can look at the purpose, the word purpose, and maybe just tracking. So you can still look at someone's individual person identifiable information, but you can't track it.
Why not?
Because
what's the point of this? They're tracking us in every other way, and all these other laws that we read.
Oh wow,
laws. Now, what's the point of this?
I think I think what it actually does is gives them.
So you have a known criminal, roaming around, and you can't track him. Is that what this law says?
No. No.
That's what
you cannot collect specifically to track individuals' personally identifiable information. Why not? That's what it says. It doesn't say why not. It says, note to John C. Dvorak, here's why not. I don't know. It's for your privacy, I guess. I think
they don't seem to care about it in any other dimension of the law.
I think it does exactly the opposite. I think it says you can collect and look at anything, you just can't use it for tracking. That's what I think it says. I think it's a reverse whammy.
Well, that would make more sense.
That's the way I read it. So you can collect and you can exfiltrate and you can monitor, but you can't do that to track an individual's personally identifiable information. That's not even a person. You can track a person, just not their personally identifiable information. I don't know. I don't like the way it's written. I think it's nefarious.
All right. I don't know. There's much to discuss. It just sounds like another bogus law. They're writing too many laws. People always complain. I've always said this.
They're not right. These are passing. This is being passed.
There's a do-nothing Congress. If you ever say it's a do-nothing Congress, it's actually a do-nothing Congress. Nothing could be better.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up.
Better than a do-nothing Congress. They're log-jammed.
That's
fine.
It's interesting you bring that up. I wanted to talk about this. There is a report that came out called the people are calling it the Gillen's Flatline. And this is a report done by two, let me see if I have it here. This is two professors, Martin Gillen's and Benjamin Page. And they've been written up in several publications, The New Yorker, quasi-serious serious publications. And what they've discovered with this research they've done over 10 years is that if you look at the financial elites, which I think, first of all, it's everybody in Congress, but the financial elites, everyone it's not you and I, let's put it that way. And then everybody else, they charted the graph when the financial elites really want something, 90 to 100% of what they wanted gets done. And then the flatline graph is everybody else, whether nobody wants certain legislation passed or everybody wants certain legislation passed, the amount is still 30% of what those people wanted. So really what this shows is whatever...
Now, what are you looking at?
This is the Martin Gillen's, Gilens, chart.
I have to look at this.
Yes, Gilens. Well, they both appeared on the Jon Stewart show a couple months back, and this is kind of what led me into looking at these guys. Here's a quick clip of what they talked about.
How do you quantify something like that? What metrics do you use?
We looked at a couple thousand potential policy changes in the United States over 25 years, and we measured what ordinary citizens wanted, whether they favored or opposed them, what economic elites wanted, and where interest groups fell. And by having measures of all those things, we could put them into a statistical model that would assess the influence of each of those sets of actors.
Is the variable enough from what the non-elite public wants to what the elite wants? Did you find a large spread between their aims?
Yes.
Yeah. There's some very important issues, including Social Security, deficits, economic regulation, taxes.
What can we do about the differential, then? What can we do about it?
It sounds scripted.
I think that's important. Krugman wrote a column and he said, this study's okay, but it's going to discourage people, and that's bad. And I think there's something to that this is a solvable problem. I think it takes a very big social movement. I think it takes bipartisan leadership. And it actually takes some wealthy people on the same side to make it happen.
Right.
Nothing seems to happen in American politics of any importance.
Right. I was going to say, do you know of a country where that could happen? Is there anything?
Well, the United States at the beginning of the 20th century, the progressive period. And I think it's really worth looking back to that and learning some lessons.
All right. So you understand what the general premise is of this?
Yes, and I do want to mention something just kind of in passing. That was a clip from the Jon Stewart show, and you played it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I did. It wasn't a particularly funny one. I was just surprised that these guys were on the Jon Stewart show, and I agree it was scripted because Stewart was way out of his depth, and he tried to do some funny joke. I cut all the stupid jokery out. Now, what's interesting about this is there's a guy from MIT, I think, James D'Angelo, and he has a theory that it's like an hour and a half long YouTube video, which I don't think is, I couldn't really pull any clips from it. But he looked at this so-called, they call it the Gillen's flatline. So again, what this research says is that when the people want something, if they really want it all the way, only 30% of what they want gets done. If they don't want something done, only still 30%. So what the people want in our Congress to do doesn't matter. What does matter is the financial elites. And what he came across is a change that this really started to change dramatically in 1970. This is when the flat line of the Gillen's chart started to take place. And this guy, I really thought that was interesting. He brings it back to the Legislative Reorganization Act of 1970.
This is interesting.
And the thank God, I've been striking out with you all day. I hope not. I'm really worried. I hope he likes this.
Anybody, but it's interesting to me.
Okay. So the Legislative Reorganization Act of 1970 was an act to, quote, improve the operation of the legislative branch of the federal government, and for other purposes, of course. And it did the following.
This would be Nixon, by the way, for anyone keeping score.
Is that 1970 was Nixon, right? Well, a lot of things happened in the 70s, including the petrodollar and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's because it was the beginning of a 40-year depression.
So the provisions of this bill required that reports on a measure be made available 3 days before a floor vote. And here I think is the one that's important. Establish procedures or recorded votes in the House Committee of the Whole, and led to the installment of electronic voting machines. And the Committee of the Whole, which I didn't know much about, I have here. Hold on. This is all from the Book of Knowledge, so I'm going to presume it's kind of okay. United States House of Representatives, the Committee of the Whole, short for Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union, is a parliamentary device in which the House of Representatives is considered one large congressional committee. The presiding officer is chosen by the Speaker of the House, is normally a member of the majority party who does not hold the chair of a long-standing committee. So it's about a super committee. So what changed is the votes of this House Committee of the Whole became recorded thanks to this act, and it led to the installation of electronic voting machines in Congress. So really, where a lot of these votes were all in favor, say aye, all opposed, say nay, the ayes have it. But it really, you didn't have hey, this guy voted for this guy voted for that. And there's a couple other similar pieces of changes that were established in this Legislative Reorganization Act. And what happened after this is a whole bunch of things started to come into play, mainly lobbying groups and groups like ALEC and the Heritage Foundation and the huge lobbying group Cassidy and Associates. And of course, I don't really remember too much about it, but there was the big Abramoff scandal. He was a lobbyist for Indian reservation.
That was
group.
Long after the.
But just to show you how the lobbying groups came in and what this guy asserts, this MIT guy, he says voting in the United States. When you and I go to vote, and we go to vote on whatever elections it is, we go into the voting booth, we draw a curtain around us, and nobody knows what I voted. And I don't get a receipt that says that I voted for anything, because if you did that, then it would be easy for me to sell my vote, because I could say, oh, I voted for this because it's public record, or here's a receipt, here's who I voted for, and it would be too easy to commit fraud. And we are taught from...
You mean like with internet voting?
Yeah, internet voting would be a very, very bad idea. And if you think about it, we're taught from a very young age, even in school, you put your votes in a cardboard box, and then the ballots are counted. It's always done in secret, except in Congress, which is exactly why the system is inherently built to be rigged. Because you can just sit there, your vote is public, you can swap votes with other guys, you can sell this to lobbyists. Lobbyists are giving people millions of dollars for their re-election campaigns, and it really started in this Legislative Reorganization Act of 1970, that these votes, not only the House of the Committee votes, were now recorded and public, but they installed the electronic voting machines in the House of Representatives and the Senate, and it's now published within seconds, so you can see if your guy, your boy, your gal, or whoever is doing what they promised, and if you need to send the money or not. And what I thought was interesting about this D'Angelo character is he said, we could solve everything, not the way the two researchers of the report say, by millions of dollars and everybody getting together and a huge movement. No, we could just say, why don't we just go back to anonymous votes in the House and the Senate? And
this is bullshit.
Why?
For one thing, that's nonsense. Anytime there was a really important vote, you can find the voting records of people back before the 1970s. If there was something important, they do it today. They do a yay or nay, and then anybody can go out because it's trying to burn somebody. Says, I'd like a recorded vote, and they do it.
I agree.
And they used to do it. They've always done it. I don't believe any of this stuff this MIT guy says. I think it all sounds dubious. It's not enough to it. There's something. I'm looking at the chart right now on a good site. It's mic.com, mic.com, and they got all this stuff on there. And they've got this chart, one of the charts. They have the flatline charts. They have all of them. But they have this one chart called Income Gains Widely Shared in Early Post-War Decades, but not since then. And you can see very clearly from 1950 to 1970, just what he said, there was a 1-to-1, the 95th percentile of people, the median and the bottom people, all gained income on the same exact curve, going straight up. 1970 it flattens out a little bit because there was a depression anyway. 1975 is actually where it starts to diverge. And it starts to diverge and diverge and diverge, and it never stops. And the big divergence is the 95, the top people, the 1%ers, 5%ers, whatever they're called. They start making a lot more money, and everybody else kind of like dwindles on the vine. They kind of, and it starts to separate in all ways. So something did happen in the 70s, but I don't believe it was because of the way they voted in Congress, and you couldn't point out that this guy voted the wrong way. What would that? How is that going to affect income distribution? I just don't see it. There's something else that
I didn't say it affected. I didn't say it affected income distribution. I didn't say that. I said it affected what the people wanted en masse and what they got, and what the financial elites wanted and what they got.
Okay.
I never said anything about income.
But it boils down to that.
No, it does not. It
does to me. What the people want is more money.
Okay. So,
and all their interests are about getting more money. And yes, they didn't get as much influence. And also the implications about lobbyists is also very dubious. There's a lot more money going around. There's a lot. I think it has to do with. I'd like to find out when that law was passed that you don't. If you're a congressman, you can invest on inside. You can do insider trading. I think that date would be.
Could I have you just for one moment just breathe and listen to the idea, the concept of having just the concept. That's all I really want to discuss here. If the votes that, and there's a whole discussion to be had about my representative. I presume that we are vote representatives to go represent us. And of course, the downside is you don't know what your guy voted for, but you vote someone because you think that they know all the angles and they're going to be working on your behalf. Otherwise, you vote them out. But it's very hard to vote somebody out when their votes are public and they're selling their votes. They're essentially selling their votes, not just for the insider trading deals they do that are hidden in the basement. Everybody's selling their vote. You give me this much money.
I want to know what they voted on.
I'm asking you to, for a moment, step back and think about what would happen. Would it change? Because that's the central point that this guy is making. If we had those votes not be public, attributed to each individual representative, would that change the money that is being put into these coffers for votes?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm a guy working with some of these one lobbyists about mining, and I want my state to be mined out. And so the vote comes up for this, and it starts to be defeated. Meanwhile, I'm getting a lot of money from these guys to get this thing passed. So I call for a roll call vote. I wouldn't let it pass. I wouldn't let this. Oh, yes, no. I mean, yeah, fine. They can do that for most laws. But if it's something important to me in my state, and I'm a stooge for a lobbyist, I'm calling for a roll call vote.
And I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. What if, just what if, you made that no longer possible. No roll call vote.
That would be a major change in the way.
Yes, of course it's a major change. But
the problem with it, again, there's a problem because then you'd be watching C-SPAN and they'd be doing these votes and you'd be here. Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. Everybody opposed say nay. Nay, nay, nay. And the ayes have it. It would be scandalous. And you've seen this happen in Congress. You watch C-SPAN, and every so often they pull one of these things off, and nobody says yes, and they say yes has it. This is bull crap.
No, you are so stuck on just saying bull crap. You're not really listening to what
I am listening to the argument. I think
I'm not arguing. I'm asking. So forget the ayes and the nays. What if we had secret vote? Just secret vote, a cardboard box. You put your vote in there. Then they go and they open them up and they say, it's the way they do elections. Here's all the secret votes that people voted in secret for our president or for your representative. Why is that not open? Why don't we just have that open? No. I'm going to say this. Open that up. Let's have the same rights as Congress so I can sell my vote.
Because you're voting for representatives.
Oh.
And that's different than voting for laws. It's not as though you're voting for a law. If you're voting for a law, I'd like to know if you voted yes or no. That's why it's open. You can't have a bunch of secret crap. You want the Congress to be run in a secret in the back room?
Here's the mistake you make with me. I don't want anything. I'm putting a debate out there. You attack it like I'm some fucking moron.
No. I'm attacking the MIT guy. Oh. It's a bogus argument.
It's funny. I see it as, I think it has some validity.
There's no validity to a seat. This is like I'm sure the Politburo in Russia in Moscow would do it that way. That's fine. That's not the way we operate. We like to know what our people are voting on, and are they voting yes or are they voting no?
I think
I want to know.
I think if you look at who was the French guy, the Toucault, the guy who wrote the Democracy in America,
Alexis de Tocqueville.
Yeah, that guy, de Tocqueville. Yeah. I'm going to go back and read that. I believe that there are examples of governments that function very well where this part of the process is not open the way it is now. Because I'm just saying, when you have, here's the only one thing I really agree with. I know that if we have a little group and there's 10 guys and we're going to vote and we all know what each other votes, there's a lot of stuff that comes into play because, if he votes that, I don't want to vote that. Whereas if you really want it to be your conscience or what the people you are supposedly representing, and for it not to be something that you can necessarily sell with proof that you voted some way, it's interesting to think about it. And I don't think that necessarily means you're immediately in Nazi Germany or in deep red Russia. I think it's interesting to explore, since not only does it not seem that there's any way of stopping the money that is controlling politics, the limits of contributions were just raised tenfold with this new bill that was passed. So it's clearly the path we're on is not working.
Well, we know that there's a lot of reasons for that, but we do know that who voted yes and no on this particular thing that allows you to bring in even more money. It's to turn the whole thing into a secret society that just kind of votes on the back. I think is even more corruptible because everyone, I didn't vote for that. No, I don't know who did. I'm the one guy who said no.
Would we be worse off?
Yeah, I think we'd be way worse off. These guys would be just taking money hand over fist.
Well, they do it anyway. It's easier now because they can prove that they voted the way they were paid.
It's easier now because the public is irresponsible and doesn't look at these guys and say, this guy's a crook. Let's get him out of here. All he's doing is taking lobbyist money, which you can now easily identify. The guy votes for something and the lobbyist, is the guy behind it. It's a bad law. We're part of that group. There's a flat line. We don't have any influence. Get some influence. Vote these guys out.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not going to happen.
It is one thing, but
that's not going to happen.
Well,
that's not going to happen.
It can happen.
Oh, that's the informed.
Once we get our super PAC going, the Curry Dvorak super PAC.
All right, you got me.
Eric's going to set it up, by the way.
shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
What the hell does that mean? Do I make any money with the super PAC?
Yeah, you're gonna pay. You'll be a paid consultant.
How? Explain. Forget this. How do I make money off of the broken system we have now? I don't give a shit about trying to fix it.
I think what we're doing.
Screw everybody.
Pointing out a lot of these flaws, and I think it could be part of the super PAC.
How does that work? The super PAC?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, then
that there's lots of power behind one. If you can believe.
I don't
that.
want power. Who the hell wants power?
I do.
All right. Well, that was a good little argument there. I'm happy.
I don't know.
Let's do something light. Let's just do something light for a moment.
Let me interrupt and make a segue. I did catch a native advertising that I want to play.
Nice,
because we're watching it, and it is such shameless. This is a shameless native ad. Do you remember when you were in the radio business, and we talked about this before, but a lot of people don't know about it. You, especially in the early days, used to get a disc.
Yes.
That was an interview.
Yep.
That you had the questions to, and it was so you play the disc, and it'd be some guys on the disc answering questions that you, as the DJ or the interviewer or whatever you were doing, were asking the guy.
Yes. So it sounds like you've got the guy or the gal or the person in the studio, and it's but it's really a syndicated thing.
Yeah, syndicated.
Right.
Well, a lot of this native advertising, I believe, is done this way. They have a package. Produced, they give it to the station. You have your local person do some voiceover here and there,
right?
And you end up with a nice thing that's done. That's native. That's an advertisement. This particular native ad. This is the one. I'm going to tell you which one it is so you can cue it up. It's
Tours.
It's the toys.
Tours are us.
For us.
Yeah.
So
Toys are us. Oh yes, I saw this. I'm so happy you caught this. This is a good one.
Everybody saw it.
Oh, this was great.
The station played it. Oh. It cost whatever the public relations.
It cost them $20,000. That's all.
It didn't even cost them $20,000. It was $200 that the woman got her thing picked up on.
I read a different version of it then.
Okay, well, it's the same thing. Toys R Us had this native ad thing going up and down the West Coast. It's all done locally. We don't know. A lot of it's vague. The joke of it to me was the piece ran exactly 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is an advertising unit.
Well, it can be 3 units or it's a mega unit.
That'd probably be a
mega unit. Yeah, it was well done. Let's just play it. This is good.
This is bull.
I'm sorry.
I'm just going to mention this is bull crap. It's messaging. It's pre-Christmas, pro-Christmas. It's pro-generosity. There's a lot of stuff, but it's an advertisement for Toys R Us.
Bianchi went to Toys R Us to put some of the toys Brianna wanted on layaway. She put $20 down, but the total was more than $200.
Oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for it? And then all of a sudden this happened.
What happened was a phone call from Toys R Us today.
Hi, this is Veronica from the Toys R Us at Winchester. Just to let you know, we had an anonymous guest come in and pay off your layaway. So when you're ready, we actually have your layaway ready for pickup. Let us know. Thank you. Have a good day.
I just said, thank you, God. Thank you, God. That's what I said.
Bianchi picked up the toys.
This is all things that were on her list.
The store told Bianchi the Secret Santa wishes to remain anonymous, but the mother wanted to show her gratitude.
I just want to say thank you so much for making our Christmas the best Christmas I've ever had.
Bianchi hopes her story will help others.
I was hoping that no other families would give up, that to believe and have faith that a miracle can happen.
Secret Santa paid off Bianchi's account just in time. We're told all layaways here will be canceled if not picked up by tonight. Now, people paying off layaway accounts anonymously is a trend around the country. On Wednesday, a woman walked into a store in Massachusetts, spent $20,000 and paid off every single account there. Julie?
Making wishes and dreams come true for the holidays. Amber, thank you.
Yeah, that's where I heard the 20,000. I thought that the lady, the store that she went to had been the 20,000 payoff, but it probably didn't even have that. That was just a story.
If I was none of this, this is just to get more people to
Toys R Us
lay away, and then maybe some good person will come by and pay it.
It was
what bull crap.
It was great. This was very good.
Everyone was eating it up.
Excellent.
Lapping it up.
And you know what happens is they send this to a number of affiliates or stations and as a package, but everyone jumps on board and it goes kind of viral and you don't have to pay for all that extra stuff.
I know.
It's really good.
It's genius. I think it's one of the finest things I've heard for a while in terms of
who has the Toys R
advertising.
Us account?
And I don't know if they paid for the 1.5 minutes or if they...
That's what I'm saying. In some
it
places...
could have been just a giveaway of a promotion.
Who has the Toys R Us account? Let's take a look for a second here.
I don't know if we can find it, but if it was Edelman, it wouldn't surprise me. They're like really deep into this stuff.
Let's see. Toys R Us...
And if the stations didn't get paid for this, they should have been paid for it. They're idiots.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of them are idiots. But the ones who are really all in, I think, are the ones that send people to go stand in front of the Toys R Us. I mean, you're sending a crew out to do this, then I can't find it. This is difficult.
Well, you got to go to their homepage. Here's let's see who's in. I've got the press room. I got to the press room, but that's going to give you the in-house guys.
And they could have multiple. They could have different people.
Some of them have multiple. Yeah, big companies like this will have multiple agencies: corporate communications, press, at Toys R Us. Outside guys are hard to spot sometimes.
But it was well done, and I'm so glad you had audio for that because I saw this and went, "This is great. Everyone's going to go to Toys R Us because
you might get everything for free.
It could happen."
Yeah.
You could be just as lucky as that.
And I like the thing, the piece kind of falls apart for me at the point where they go with the warning. And by the way, if you don't pay off by Thursday, we take your stuff.
That
was a blunder.
I think that was actually just poorly written copy.
Maybe. Or either
from the agency.
Was a genuine threat they tried to slip in.
Could be. I don't, advertising... You have to go to like Ad Week or something like that.
Yeah, you can
Ad
find
Week.
Actually, Ad Week and Advertising Age, which I think doesn't do much anymore, but Ad Week for sure. Because the agencies that pull these off, they go into those magazines and they brag about it. Man, we had a great promotion. We had suckers coming out of the wood.
They do brag about it. You're right.
They brag endlessly about it.
Well, they'll give each other awards.
They give each other awards. That's true.
You bet.
The local news will never cover that because it makes them look like idiots.
Young and Rubicon, but this is all old.
We'll find
it's got to be a boutique agency who is kicking ass with this stuff. This is what we should screw the super PAC. This is what we should be doing.
No, I don't want to do that. I think that's the lowest of the low.
Well, hello?
Scamming the public?
What's a super PAC then?
No, super PAC does good.
I was in the chat room. They said, hey, when you have power, you get, it's an aphrodisiac.
Yeah,
you're an automatic chick magnet.
Chick magnet.
Well, meanwhile, the other real news that is buzzing around, no one in Hollywood can talk about anything else but this.
In the wake of the cyber attack, the Hollywood giant is in damage control, every day facing new revelations. Like the email exchange between Sony co-chairman Amy Pascal and movie producer Scott Rudin.
I can't get enough of this.
This is actually highly entertaining.
I love it.
By BuzzFeed. In it,
I love that BuzzFeed. They are very good at doing this stuff.
Actually tinged speculation about President Obama's taste in movies. Today, Amy Pascal issued an apology, saying in part, the content of my emails to Scott were insensitive and inappropriate, but are not an accurate reflection of who I am.
I love this. The views held and represented in the No Agenda show are not necessarily representative of who I am, except for what I wrote in an email.
Rudin apologized as well. Private emails written in haste can result in offense where none was intended. I am deeply sorry.
I'm deeply sorry. No one says racist cocksuckers and racist about the president.
It's Hollywood. And the irony is, of course, Hollywood's all in on the Democrats and the president.
I think both of them are big donors to the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And they just made racially insensitive. Though there's insensitive jokes. It's crazy how they're being protected in this. This should have been a Republican or someone from the South or someone from Texas.
Somebody texted
tar and feathered and hung up. But oh no, this just shows we need. What are they calling it? We need more diversification. What's the word? Yeah, we need more. We need to diversify Hollywood. Ugh.
Good luck. Who needs it anyway? Let Hollywood be what it is. It's funnier.
We had.
I like to have the salaries in there. They got all kinds of good stuff coming out.
Tons of good stuff.
I think this should be done more often. I admire the guys who cracked Sony and put the whole thing out there as public domain.
And I think that
raise the curtain, raise the veil of secrecy on all companies.
They're trying to bring it back to there was a horrible crime perpetrated on our company. This is what we should be talking about. No, this is really good. What's going on here? This is really, really good. This is Sony being taken down by someone.
By who?
I don't know. Competitor. Could be anybody.
But who?
Well,
Microsoft?
It's not North Korea.
No, it's definitely not North Korea. What's the point?
I'd be looking at.
I look at Microsoft. They're the ones with the big against the Xbox and PlayStation.
Interesting.
Could be one of the other movie companies.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That would be the way to go.
Since they went after the movie database more than anything else. They already hacked away at their games site. That would happen like a number of years back.
Right. And there was probably Sony's crisis management who went, blame it on North Korea. Quit, do something.
Yeah, I think that was a blunder.
I think it was. All it did is, it does promote the Seth Rogen movie, but that's not really going to help. When you get the executives talking like that.
No, it could have been China.
Nah. Well, yeah, China. Yeah, that's possible.
I mean, China's trying to put up some studio space. They have a bunch of $3 billion in some studios, and I think north of Beijing or south of Beijing, a bunch of studios.
Remember they opened it up and everyone went there, and
a whole bunch of guys are filming there. Even though the Chinese government has an oversight, which is not a good idea for anything artistic. And I don't know, maybe Sony. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely PR for the Rogen movie. It's PR for the Rogen movie for sure. And all the other stuff is just
crap PR. It's not even good PR. Because all they do is show clips of the Rogen. When you see clips of that movie, do you actually want to go see the movie? Oh, it looks stupid.
I think enough people will be, hey, that looks cool, man. You hear that was part of the hack. Let's go watch it. It's Christmas Day opening. It'll work.
No, it won't. I think it's going to be a flop.
I had drinks Thursday night after our show, which I don't typically do, as you know. I'm pretty much like I'm done. I got to rest. It's like running a marathon.
Man, I'm pooped.
I had drinks with my ex-big-time banker from New York. You remember this is the guy who I asked about some of the suicides, and he knew some of the guys. And
yes, you brought him up a couple of shows ago.
Right. And I got 2 drinks in him. And I said, wow, man, what do you think about this derivatives and FDIC thing, this turning back of Dodd-Frank? This is really this is something. And he said, this is the best thing that could ever happen to America. Right, exactly. Exactly. An ex-banker. I said, well, why don't you explain?
Explain, please.
He says, this is the last thing that we need to do to completely destroy Barclays, Societe Generale, and UBS. He says, if this goes through, which I guess it's now gone through, the president will have to sign it. And the president said that he wasn't a fan of it, but he was going to put it in there. He says, this is so good for the United States economy. He said, this is going to make our banking industry rule the world. And he tried to explain to me all the ins and outs of how it worked with the swaps. And he says, really, when the next crisis, not if, he said, when the next crisis comes, when.
It's coming up.
Which means, the guy's being real with me. When the next crisis comes, he says, just so you know, the IMF is a joke. They have no power. He keeps saying this. You really have to get off this IMF thing. If Fifi Lagarde is worthless, it's a distraction to what the U.S. banks, in particular Bank of America and Citibank, the power they will have with these derivatives being able to be kept in separate entities, so that if something collapses, then they will have to be bailed in, bailed out, whatever you want to call it. He says when it goes down, the system will be stable, but yes, one bank will be completely wiped out. And that's whoever is, odd man out in the musical chairs at the time. He says this is going to be so good for us. And I thought it was refreshing to hear that.
Well, I've always been and as you know, I've always been under the impression and of the opinion
that we should be pumping 100 times more money into the economy right now.
Well, yes, that's one of the points I continually make over and over. But the other one is that somehow in these financial games, we always win. Yeah. Somehow we always win. I mean, that's what we only do of all the countries in the world. We're the only ones that think, talk business. That's all we do. And also military stuff, as Eric was pointing out the other day, he was saying, how would, we're talking about the Warthog getting refunded.
Yes, the A-10.
It's like, what other country would citizens just roaming around, just aimless, everyday citizens, even know what the Warthog was? We all know what it is. Everybody,
because that's what we do.
The complete lost slaves that are doing nothing more than watching Honey Boo Boo stuff.
And even that's canceled.
That are read in, they're clued in, know about the Warthog, know about all this stuff. And it seems to me that we always win these battles. Now, I've got a couple of things. We have to at least discuss this. This is the clip here is India and Russia. Russia, of course, it's still somewhat baffling to me why we've just taken such a dislike to Russia. If it's Putin, I mean, there's a lot of people that hate him. Putin! Rid of him and try, but none of it seems to be working. So Russia has, and I think this has always been a mistake. I don't see any reason why we can't continually do business with Russia, and we're the bad guys in the Ukraine situation.
Well, we do continue to do business with Russia, but just on our terms, which is under 90-day financing.
But they don't like the sanctions and the rest of it. So the deal with play the India and Russia clip so we can catch up to what the Russians have been up to.
India and Russia agreed to significantly boost energy cooperation this week. During Vladimir Putin's visit to Delhi, the sides signed a number of ambitious agreements worth about $100 billion. First of all, Russia has agreed to supply India with 1 million tons of oil annually. And by 2017, India will start receiving 2.5 million tons of liquefied gas per year. However, it's India's atomic sector that will get the most impressive boost, as Russia will build up to 24 nuclear power stations in the country. On top of that, the Indian Prime Minister reiterated that Russia remains its most important partner in the defense sphere. However, the Dean of India's Jindal School of International Affairs believes it's high time for the countries to diversify their cooperation further.
They're doing the same in Turkey. Russia's also going to build a reactor in Turkey.
Right. If you play RT analysis on Russia sanctions, you get that part of it.
Russia's isolated. That's the message Western politicians and media are sending, but I'm not so sure. Today, for instance, it clinched a huge atomic deal with India to build 12 nuclear reactors in 20 years, plus Russia will be shipping oil to India. That's not enough to prove Russia has friends, I know. But what about Turkey? Moscow and Ankara agreed to build a major pipeline connecting both countries as an alternative to South Stream, plus deliveries via already existing Blue Stream pipeline are going to be expanded. And let's not forget about China. $400 billion gas deal by the Bear and Dragon was sealed back in May. The deal was boosted just a couple of weeks ago.
Right. Which is why I always say I think the United States elites and Putin are playing on the same team, and they're all invested in this is the way to China and India and whatever. It
could be.
It almost seems that way.
That's not a possibility.
Yeah.
But this Ukraine thing is completely out of control in terms of the politics of it. They have this thing going on now called lustration. And this isn't reported at all in American media that I can spot. But lustration is in fact, here, play the lustration clip number 1, just lustration.
The EU has branded as very bad a new law in Ukraine that bans former officials from power. European constitutional experts said it shouldn't become a tool of revenge over political opponents. Ukraine now has 3 months to review it. Here's Murad Gazdiev.
Lustration, noun. A policy of cleansing a new regime from the remnants of the past. And Ukraine has taken to it with abandon. In September, Kiev adopted a new law which all but declares open season on former officials, police, elected representatives, and even clerics. It reportedly bans more than 1 million Ukrainians from ever holding a government job.
However, if you're an American and you've been running a hedge fund for USAID, we'll give you a passport and you can be the finance minister. Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
So
yeah, that's great.
They showed in this clip, like some poor guy who happened to be in the old government. He was talking to some news reporter, and a whole bunch of thugs grabbed him and started beating him up, and they threw all these guys in a trash dump.
You never see that. I saw the pictures. That was a while ago, but you never see that in the media here. Barely.
No. Funny.
Yeah, they threw him in the trash dump.
They threw him in a trash dump, and like a dumpster, and then they close the lid and pound on the thing, and then they throw
tip it over
on him. Or set the thing on fire. I don't know if anyone got killed because a bunch of these things burning.
I'm pretty sure he got out.
Lustration too. This is all going on right as we speak.
Leaving them prey to mobs and vigilantes. The street violence has scared even Kiev, with the interior minister urging people to restrain themselves.
A few more lynchings and broken faces, and I fear Europe and America will turn away from us. Don't behave like savages. Ukraine is a European country.
No, it's not.
And he was right to be worried. Alarm bells are ringing in Europe. It's reached all the way up to the European Commission for Democracy through Law, which has issued a scathing condemnation. According to a leaked transcript, it says lustration may only be practiced if guilt is established individually.
Wow. How can we screw this one up even? This is...
Well, there's this lack of realization that Ukrainians are crazy. There are a lot of Nazis. They were the ones on the German side in World War II. Well, it's a corrupt country.
Well, I think some of our State Department representatives colluded with the crazies. That I think is
naively.
True. Yeah, maybe. But dumb is stupid.
So and this is crazy what's going on. Did you notice the lynchings? They're hanging these guys.
So the part of this, or a large portion, is the money that is, this country is about to go seriously broke. They can't pay back anything. They can't pay back the IMF. There's no way for them to pay Gazprom. The whole thing is collapsing, and the EU said, "Oh yeah, we'll hook you." I guess the United States gave them Ukraine $1 billion a note or whatever it was, which I'm sure went straight to Gazprom. But there's nothing. There's no money. This place is in a complete and utter meltdown. And I think I'll just say the elitists of the State Department, Kerry and Newland and the Kagans, they're walking away from it. They don't care anymore. Now it's Turkey. Oh, screw that. And by the way, did you hear what happened just last night?
No.
Erdogan shut down. He's shutting down any press that is that he doesn't like. Let's put it that way. Anything that he feels is related to Gulen, Fethullah Gulen, our CIA guy who's living in exile, and they're arresting journalists and they're shutting down the television stations. And this is a preemptive strike. We've had things happen before, but now he's just going in and arresting the news people.
Well, the Ukrainians are too. In fact, I switched to France 24 to get some balance here, so everything on RT, and play this clip. This is Ukraine censorship, and this guy is on there's a show called. We have one station that's all France 24, and there's one thing called The Debate, and they have this one guy's getting grilled, and it's a pretty good level of grilling that you won't hear in the United States, but play Ukraine censorship story.
Machine by Russia. So we have to counter this influence within the country.
We talked about this on Thursday, by the way.
Yeah, we did. This is a good clip, though. This is the ambassador from the Ukraine to France.
Machine by Russia. So we have to counter this influence within the country, of course, in the east of the country, but also in the west. We have to project the truth, our view about
But why don't you trust Ukrainian journalists to tell the truth? Why do you need a so-called Ministry of Truth to check whether what is being aired is indeed true?
We trust Ukrainian journalists. Many of them are professional, but definitely their effort to project our view of the situation on the ground is to be beefed up, supported by the government resources. It's not a matter of control. It's the matter of making this message more efficient, making sure that it reaches the ears and the eyes of Ukrainians and people in the West.
I'd like to ask you...
What did he even say?
Well...
We have to make sure it's a good message.
Yeah. Well, of course.
And I just want to get this last clip out of the way, which is this is the same guy, I believe. And this is the thing that I think has got everyone worried. This is the NATO.
Oh, yeah.
The intentions. These I don't know what to call them, Nazis that took over Ukraine thanks to us. I think they're living in a complete dream world because this is never going to happen, this NATO, joining NATO. But they think it is, and this is the NATO-Ukraine clip.
One last word on NATO. The president of Ukraine recently declared that he wants his country to join the alliance by the end of the decade. He says there will be a referendum, of course. Now, you know that Germany is against the idea, France is against the idea, and this is an absolute red line for Moscow. Aren't you shooting yourself in the foot when you're making such declarations?
Not at all. It's easy for me to talk because I have been consistently pro-NATO sort of person. I think that NATO is, with all deficiencies, difficulties confronted by the alliance, is the best collective security organization in the world, and the only one which can guarantee Ukraine's territorial integrity and real sovereignty. At the same time, when people speak about irritating Russia, irritating the bear, they actually they quite often now forget the situation cannot be worse than now.
Okay. I want to lay a couple more pieces on the table, then I want to ask you a question about this. So Ukraine is clearly a setup for a battleground. I think that it would be a good place to do it. No one cares. I hate saying it that way, but just...
then I think that some of Europe cares because so much gas goes through Ukraine from Russia.
So that's where we get to the second piece, which is Turkey. Now, the thing about Turkey, which is not really discussed much, is how they are not participating in the so-called war against the degradation of ISIL, whatever you want to call it. In fact, quite the opposite. They are flowing fighters through to go into, because they hate the Kurd, the PKK, which is also part of what Syria has always, Syria has always been their issue. This is a very fertile ground for something really to take place. And what I want to ask you, is there a comparable situation to what we're seeing now with Turkey, perhaps with Ukraine, but certainly with Russia and the EU and the US, to previous large-scale conflagrations such as First and Second World War? Is there anything that comes close to it, and what would the trigger mechanism be that we should be looking out for?
A Prince Ferdinand, a guy like that showing up and randomly killed.
Oh, really? That's all it would take?
The way things are going, you don't know what it's going to take. I mean, they've been lynching guys, they've been killing people. The Ukrainian situation is completely out of control. We don't get any reports of it in the United States, even though we're the ones behind it, essentially. And I said the word. Something could trigger it. I don't know what, but I think we're still in the process of rebelization. I think we've pretty much made Ukraine horrible. And I think Turkey, we tried already once, and maybe, I don't know what we're going to do there. I don't know. There's these things, when they happen, it's like, should have spotted that. I think it's one of those things that's so obfuscated by all the crap going on, and, the oil and the gas and the phony sanctions and all the rest of it. I don't know. I think it's a smokescreen. We probably should be able to identify it in advance.
Well,
the two of us should be able to identify this trigger mechanism in advance.
Okay, I think the trigger mechanism is assassination of Erdogan, which you said is pretty much the only thing left. That would trigger something, and depending on who pops in, or we have some kind of military takeover, that would be the one, I think.
Well, it would definitely cause a problem.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
By the way, I think that was already in the Red Book. We're just waiting. I want to thank a few people for helping us on Show 678, including Ray Metz of Aquarium Services in San Diego, California, with a 12345. And he does have some requests. We're going to do a karma at the end for people. I'm not going to do a weird lip smack. I just did it.
Why would anybody
Kevin
want
Thomas
that?
in Smyrna, Georgia, 12345. And he wants some OMG karma. Paul Pacheco in White Salmon, Washington, $100. Thanks for the show. His son Nick downloads the show for me while I truck down the road, and it's good to hear a different point of view on different news outlets around the world. Keep up the good work. Thomas Niedringhouse in Chicago, $100. Matthew Livingstone in Sudbury, Ontario. This is in loving memory of Sandra Livingstone, who passed away a year ago. She loved you guys and your great insight. She taught me to look beyond the smoke and mirrors. And he says, miss you, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Soltis in St. Paul, Minnesota, nuts, $99.99. Amanda Pitts in Sunnyvale, California. I do have a note. It's a short note. Of course, I can't find it when I wanted to. Where's my notes? Oh, here it is. No, that's not it. Jeez. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Sorry. This is actually worth reading. That's why I'm reading it. That's why I'm looking for it. John and Adam, thank you for your wonderful show. I always want to donate, but I started listening to y'all in grad school as I was poor. And upon graduation with my PhD in chemistry, I moved to the Bay Area. My husband and I are saving for a house here, and we penny pinch, which is what you should do, as much as possible. However, after the Sunday show, much as they're saving for down payment, she canceled my hair appointment. I canceled my hair appointment so I could donate.
Oh.
Being a chemistry professor now, I don't need nice-looking hair anyway.
That's like a podcaster.
I have loved the show for 5 years now, and thank you for your hard work.
Oh, that's so kind.
And in Sunnyvale. Ruben Karpeshian, I bet you. Or Karapeshian. Ruben Karapeshian, which sounds Armenian. In Glendale, $69.69. Long-time donor, first-time boner. Oh, other way around. Andrew Lemessany, $67.89, Colorado Springs. Kevin Grant in Vancouver, $67.89. Sir Herb Lamb in Sugar Hill, Georgia, $67.80.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas, he says to everybody. Sir Brian Kaufman in Phoenix, Arizona, $60. Renee LaBay in Santa Monica, California. She has a note saying, you pronounced my name correctly. 2 women, 2 notes. 2 women, 2 notes. William Fleming, Tulsa, Oklahoma, $57.75. Sean in Feltham, London, $55.55. Jack Schroeder in Windsor, Ontario has got
son Eric's got a birthday on the list.
Son Eric's got a birthday.
Yep, we're good.
Mark Magpayo. What do you think? Magpayo. Anyways, in Cerritos, California, 55 double nickels on the dime. Ralph Massaro in Kirkland, Washington, Homocosco, $55.10. Darren Myers, Columbus, Indiana, double nickels on the dime. David Galloway in Flower Mound, Texas, which I've actually been to Flower Mound, $55.10. Daniel Torello in Charleston, South Carolina, $52.48. And finally, we got some odd ones here. Sir Kevin Payne in Richmond, Virginia, $50.69. Scott Checkai in Harwick, Pennsylvania, 5033, along with Sir Inside Job, Black Knight from Seattle, Washington, 5033. David Roberts, Norristown, Pennsylvania, 5017. And the following people donated $50 each, starting with Stefano Scalia in San Jose, California, Stanley Hong in Randwick, New South Wales, Australia, Brandon Savoy, parts unknown, Mike Westerfield, parts unknown, Patricia Worthington, Miami, John Anderson, Youngsville, Louisiana, Paul Groves in Wangaratta, Victoria, Australia, Jakub Wojciak in North Vancouver, BC, Melody Mann in Ringola, Louisiana, and finally our buddy over here in Oakland, Sir Alan Bean. I want to thank all these folks and remind you we do have a show on Thursday, and hopefully we can even out our donations a little bit. That'll be show 679.
Of course, we also have a lot of people donating under $50, some for anonymity, lots of them on monthly programs. I wanted to read this quick little note from Ryan and Moki. Today we donated $39 because it's 12 plus 13 plus 14. We don't quite have $1,000 for us or anyone else, but we appreciate the hell out of your work. Love from Ryan and Moki. P.S. And your head is gone. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good list. And we have a lot to take care of. We've got what do we have? 4 nightings today. This is great. When it rains, it pours, John.
Yes.
Dvorak.org/NA.
So, we got our birthday list here. Let me just roll it out for you. Sir Chris Spears, he'll be celebrating, we celebrated yesterday. Happy birthday to him. Jack Schroeder says happy birthday to his son Eric, turned 16 today. And Sir Otaku, way in advance. Congratulations to you, sir, on December 31st from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe. It's your birthday, yeah. Okay, we have a couple title changes. Sir Don Tommaso di Toronto becomes a Duke today. This, of course, will all be in the peerage map, itm.im/peerage. Sir Norman McDonough becomes Baronet. McDonough? Did I say that right? McDonough? McDonough.
Yeah, McDonough.
Sir Hank becomes Viscount of Queens, New York, along with all its rights, lands, and privileges. And Sir Alan Bowes becomes Baron of British Columbia. Thank you all very much for your courage and for supporting the work here, which we do with great pleasure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. My goodness. Bring out the big blade. I got mine today. There you go. All right, London Foley, step forward. Patrick, come on down. Riechmeister, along with Stan Salisbury. All of you now become Knights of the No Agenda Roundtable, and I'm happy to pronounce the Sir London, Sir Patrick Order of Pugner, Sir Riechmeyer of Divide by Zero, and Sir Stan of Kingswood. For you, gentlemen, I have root beer and pepperoni's pizza, Okras and Blow, Red Boys and Chardonnay, Dos Equis and Dutch Dominatrix, Porn Stars and Pot, Bad Science and Perky Breasts. We got hot pants and booze, bong hits and bourbon, or sparkling cider and escorts with mutton and mead. Please go to noagendanation.com/rings. It's possible that you may not get a confirmation email immediately. But I think Erica's working on that, and we did put the big order in for replenishing all the different sizes. So once you do that, then it'll be on its way to you. Thank you. This is a great way to head towards Christmas. Great to see all these new faces at the round table, especially Sir London now at the round table of the Knights and the Dames.
Fantastic.
Let me. I've got to do one thing, which is the karma. A couple of special requests for everybody else who was on the list there.
Oh my God, that is amazing!
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
There we go. Woo! There you go. Rolling out the karma. Let me see. Have you seen all the latest ISIS bull crap? My God, these people are relentless. It just doesn't quit.
That's because they're social media experts.
Now they have, I just caught this on CNN. They have a rape and sex slave manual. And whenever yes, I know. Whenever you want to go and find this stuff, this is all found by sight. You recall this group that we analyzed.
The ones who do make these things up.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they are indeed the ones that do this stuff. So, because when they say, "Oh, we found this on some ISIS, jihadi websites," I can never find the jihadi website.
Don't they put the link in there?
No. And they're so incredibly good at social media. Well, it's hard for me to see anything that's really out there. But okay, I guess I'm wrong. Here is the report on this. And this whole thing is so bogative. But this is kind of the new thing now is, whatever happened. Of course, we don't have footage of 2 Ospreys landing and 100 SEAL Team 6 guys going to get the hostages and them getting found out by a guard peeing against the wall. No, we do animations of everything. Everything's animated. We got everything. And so now we have this guide.
They should have that Japanese group do it.
Sometimes it looks like that Japanese group that does the Steve Jobs stuff so well.
Well, that and all the joke things.
Yeah, all the joke things. Yeah, jokes. So this is now. We're not looking at a website. We're not looking at a document someone is holding. We're looking at an animated page-turning thing that is in Arabic, and I guess that means it's the manual.
ISIS militants have released a guidebook on how to use young girls as sex slaves. In it, ISIS justifies child rape. It offers tips on capturing and punishing young girls.
Tips.
What is this, an S&M club?
Tips.
What is this?
Tips.
Just yesterday, armed men handed out this pamphlet that they call Questions and Answers on Female Slaves and Their Freedom.
Hey, John, I have a couple of questions about female slaves and their freedom. Do you have any tips?
Not yet.
After sunset prayers in Mosul, our Ian Lee has more.
This isn't really a surprise. We've known this has been going on for quite some time. But what this gives us is another window into the ISIS organization.
The ISIS organization. I guess they have these in the back of the Toyotas.
This 27-point brochure really just details the rules for rape and abhorrent things like raping prepubescent girls. And really my impression from this is that these fighters, these people do not view their captives as human beings. They are property to be dealt with, to be used and abused however they like. One of them was lucky enough to escape and talk to our Ivan Watson a while back. Take a listen.
Okay, so now they have you can't really see if it's a girl, a woman. The whole face is blurred out. You really can't see anything. She's speaking you can't hear it because there's a voiceover. And this is now going to be the proof of what is going on to accentuate the reality of this brochure with tips.
They came to the room and looked around at the girls, and if they liked one, they chose her and took her. If the girls cried and didn't want to leave, they beat the girl. The guy who chose me was 70 years old, and he took me to his house. There were 4 Yazidi girls there already.
I didn't know that ISIS had 70-year-old guys. I haven't seen those in the Toyotas anywhere.
Have you? Not seen any of those in the Toyotas.
Hit us, and they didn't give us enough to eat or drink. They told us we were infidels. He put me in a room and put a gun to my head, and I was on the ground, and he said, "I will kill you because you won't convert to Islam." That night they came.
That seems to be the common theme everywhere, doesn't it? If you don't convert to Islam, we'll chop your head off, we're going to rape you. This is the continuous message.
Came and took an 11-year-old girl away, and when she came back, she told me they raped her.
Reading that pamphlet also, there was another point, and it said that the greatest sin for one of these slaves is to escape from their master, sending a very dire warning. And to get an idea of the kind of people who are buying them, take a look at this video. This shows a room full of ISIS fighters. They are getting ready.
You're literally seeing a handy cam footage of a bunch of guys going, nothing else.
To acquire their slaves, and really they're joking about it. You can really get the impression of how little value for human life that these men have, and really the living hell that these female slaves are living through.
So I, of course, assert that this is all propaganda. I have seen no evidence.
It's all bull crap.
No evidence of this
There were
being
too much today. I realize it.
And another piece came out, which was this is one of these things that only really works when you are making an audio clip of it. And I was like, oh, of course. So there's a new video of an ISIS drone flying above Kobani, showing that they are in control, and then the drone zooms down, and then we're following some apparently some ISIS guys They have the clean, very clean camos on, not dirty at all because it's all brand new material, brand new stuff. They're wearing the balaclavas, so that's all kind of par for the course. But
they're wearing baklavas?
Balaclavas? What is it?
I was thinking some
no, I didn't
pastry on their head.
No, I didn't say that. I said balaclavas.
Oh, okay.
Usually I say baklava. Not today. And what you're seeing is just 3 different sequences. One guy shooting a bazooka or an RPG, what we used to call a bazooka. Now it's an RPG. One guy just standing in the open shooting. And of course, we're pretty much parallel to him with the camera. It's not a good place to be if some guy is actually shooting at someone who's shooting back. You're not going to be standing right next to him with the camera, but okay. Then we have a guy inside a building with a huge tripod-mounted machine gun, a 50 caliber, and he's just shooting through the wall. This is just people shooting. We see no anything coming back or whatever.
Right. You always see these guys.
However, they have sweetened this video throughout the whole thing with this sequence. Listen to it. So you hear this machine gun fire in the background with a ricochet.
One ricochet.
And one pew! So it's literally...
Where's the ricochet coming from? These are all stone things.
Now this is... this to me is a sound effect you can probably find on some sound effects CD somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Now, if you listen to this whole 45-second report, which is not a report, it's just video, starts up in the so-called drone, you're hearing this thing over and over again in the background, just to spice it up in between all of the staged firings. Oops, there it is. This ricochet. Pew, another ricochet. Re-rack the loop. It's the same loop over and over again.
Yeah, the same ricochet.
Yeah, now you got the firing in between, but listen. In the background, continuously the same loop. So this whole thing is produced from beginning to end. And they're playing this on television like, oh my goodness, look, they've got a drone. And this was really
endless crap that we're fed by these people. It's horrible.
Well, there's a new outfit which is very interesting, and this is another business.
Where did you get that clip?
It's online, but it's been played by everybody. I've seen every CNN, MSNBC, everyone's been playing it because it starts with a drone shot, or who knows why they think it's so cool. But it's produced. It's clearly produced with sweetened audio. Here's something that showed up on CNN. Just a random story, but it was very interesting for a number of reasons, not just the analysis, but also the group that did this analysis. The title is ISIS Brutal Beheading Video, Search for Clues. It was a killing choreographed for maximum brutality, the simultaneous beheading of 22 Syrian captives held by ISIS. This was a part of the larger video of the most recent so-called beheading of, who was the guy that... I think that was not Foley. No, the last guy. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It'll show up here. In November, ISIS released a propaganda video titled, Though the Unbelievers Despise It. It featured the apparent murder of an American hostage, Peter Kassig. There you go. Peter Kassig, known as Abdul Rahman Kassig, after his conversion to Islam. Of course, we tied him back to USAID through all of these different nonprofits. And he was a badass. He was a ranger. And the mass killing of what appeared to be nearly 24 Syrian soldiers. The U.S.-based terrorism research organization TRAC, Terrorism Research and Analysis Consortium, and UK-based counter-extremism think tank Quilliam have analyzed the footage frame by frame to understand the video's production techniques, the identity of the hostages and their killers, and the visual significance of such calculated brutality. This is actually very good because we have said this, but they went a step further. Here are some of their findings. The video would have cost at least $200,000 to produce, according to Track. Similar to a feature film, the video features multiple takes using high-definition cameras to create images of a professional quality. Nearly all the killers appear unmasked and are clearly identifiable. There are 22 ISIS fighters of varying ethnicities and nationalities, all wearing the same camouflage uniforms, which are spotless, I might point out. They are led by the militant known to be in the British press as Jihadi John, the masked fighter with a British accent. Only one of the killers had been identified, a Muslim convert for France. Here we go. Lighting and shadows reveal the video was shot over a 4 to 6 hour period. The video was shot in multiple takes and contained several inconsistencies. The order of the killers and prisoners in the lineup switched in several places. In certain frames, fighters are seen chatting with one another, apparently passing time between takes. 2 of the ISIS fighters wear clip-on microphones, but their audio is not recorded. It's possible their recorded messages were either cut out or have been saved for a future release. Yes, for the director's cut. 3 of the killers have been edited out of the video, seen only in transitional sequences. This includes a fighter in a balaclava, the only masked militant other than Jihadi John. Track believes the second masked militant may be acting as a body double for Jihadi John, someone who acts as a decoy in case of an airstrike. And this was a very good analysis, because we looked at this video, and it is truly of Hollywood epic proportions, which of course now can be done. If you have $200,000, you can certainly create something that looks really scary and of real high quality. And
I was hoping you could do it cheaper.
Oh, we could do it cheaper. We got lots of people. You know, it's just it's catering. That gets expensive. It's the craft services. That's the word I was looking for. Craft services. I'm sorry. Craft services. So I went to look at this Track outfit. Now, these guys are pretty interesting. I have a promotional video, which I'd like to play, of what they're all about. You ready?
I'm all ears.
The world of political violence and terrorism studies is constantly evolving. Groups and their leaders rise to power and fall. Alliances are formed and destroyed. Tactics change and motives shift. When you're studying a subject that changes this fast, you need reliable, expert sources, concise analyses, breaking news updates, and one place to find it all. You need Track. Track gathers the most...
How good is this?
Wow.
TrackTerrorism.org. T-R-A-C-K... Oh, I'm sorry. TrackingTerrorism.org. TrackingTerrorism.org.
Accurate and relevant political violence information available from trusted sources embedded in terrorism hotspots around the world, as well as expert scholars, government and defense personnel, and media professionals.
Yeah.
Track researches and archives difficult to find resources that Google and other search engines fail to recognize. Woo. Group profiles act as nerve centers of information, continuously monitored and updated to reflect changes such as new cells, factions, and groups as they emerge from this ever-evolving arena of political violence.
So when you look at what these guys have, they are pretty much a database that puts all these things together, and they sell it to, CNN, obviously, and probably to some governments and think tanks. But wow, these guys are making assumptions and putting stuff in here. And this is run by the Beecham Group. Are you familiar with Walton Beecham?
No, keep going.
The Beecham Group. And they say they have 2,800 experts who live and report from terrorism hotspots worldwide. And then they just list pretty much everywhere.
It's an intelligence gathering organization, probably financed by MI6.
Founded as Beecham Publishing, the company's acclaimed titles span the impact of climate change, with Beecham's Guide to Endangered Species, and Beecham's Guide to Environmental Issues, to topical issues in literature to important societal concerns with the Encyclopedia of Social Change. Eyes on these guys.
Well, you lost me.
No, I was listening to see if you had anything to say.
Oh, no, I just got an internet connection thing crap.
Oh, it works okay.
So you have to repeat the question.
Oh, there was no question. I read the other things they were doing. Did you hear about the Beecham?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty broad-based.
Well, very focused on social change, climate change, terrorism.
Each profile
doesn't make any sense.
Well, it is if it's just going to be touted as a reliable source and is going to be used by the media and think tanks. It's a source of, you bull crap in, bull crap out. I think these guys are taking over from the site group.
I think we have to, well, probably it's the same. We have to look into this a little deeper. Something's up with these guys.
Yeah, well, the Beecham Publishing, that's about as deep as I could get on who they are. The other names don't mean anything to me. The individual names.
Well, it's definitely not the usual suspects that we see in these U.S. groups.
No, completely new. But Walton Beecham, and then we have Arabinda Akaria. These may be Indians. Who's Varyan Khan? I mean, the editorial director.
What's the guy's first name? What's Beecham's name?
Walton.
Walton. Huh.
Varyan Khan.
Is there a wiki entry on this guy?
I don't know.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I see a lot. They're all on LinkedIn, actually.
That's interesting in itself.
Here's Varyan Khan. We'll get the Varyan Khan. This is a woman. Oh, wow. She looks badass.
Well, I'm looking at Beecham in the Wikipedia or in the LinkedIn.
Yeah, what is
there?
Beecham?
He is. Funny picture. She's off to the side and backlit. Came from the Georgia Institute of Technology, Georgia Tech.
Huh.
President of the Beecham Group, LLC, Florida area publishing. Is that a publishing company?
Hold on a second. That other outfit was also from Georgia. The guys who financed the Academics for Peace, who financed the Peter Kassig outfit, also Georgia.
Interesting. This Beecham Group has been around for 30 years, since 1985. Specializing in encyclopedic scoped. I don't know what that means. Reference books and databases. That's what you said. Georgia Institute of Technology Terrorism Forum. He's on the Terrorism Forum on LinkedIn. I should join that.
Yeah.
See if I can join it. Let me click on it, see if I can get in.
I'll play the rest of this video while you're getting in.
That includes a snapshot of key figures, names and aliases, areas of operation, ideologies, targets and tactics. Quickly and easily linked to articles of associated activities, targeted regions, related groups and more. And Track goes further, providing risk assessment and counter-terrorism strategies for 92 countries that are most vulnerable to terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
Track's intuitive search function lets you find the information you need faster and easier. Filter your results by information type.
This is good. This is really good. All right. Well, it's another thing, just another one of those popping up.
Terrorism group. Your request to join the terrorism group has been received. You can adjust your settings here.
You adjust your settings. Hey, Pocahontas is now being touted as the superstar.
This was all predicted over a year ago by us.
By you specifically. I'll play these
by me
two little clips.
But you were not arguing about it.
Two clips here from probably all NBC or MSNBC.
But the liberal wing's newest star, Senator Elizabeth Warren, was pushing back too.
This is not about partisanship. This is about fairness.
All right, that was NBC. Here's Chris Matthews, hardball.
Let me finish tonight with this revolution in the Democratic Party that we're witnessing tonight.
Ooh, revolution.
If Senator Elizabeth Warren's able to whip the party in defeating this monstrous spending bill, if she is seen as the key crusader against Wall Street in this grand test of power, it will set the course for the months and years ahead.
And that didn't happen.
No, of course not. It's just a lot of talk. Yeah. I've noticed this with Elizabeth Warren. She's a big talker, but she doesn't accomplish anything.
Big talker.
She's a big student loans. Here's her big topics. Student loans, these poor students are getting ripped off. So what? Nothing changes. Oh, consumer protection. Oh, it's horrible nowadays. It's horrible. Nothing changes.
No.
Oh, this bill's no good. Nothing changes. There's a light. She doesn't do, I don't think she even tries to do anything. I think she's just a populist trying to get votes.
She creates great sound bites. Phony. Yeah. She creates great sound bites, though. They make for good sound bites.
Yeah.
Euroland for a moment. Lots of stuff happening in the Euroland zone. Actually, I had a couple things here just to mention. Here we go. What do we have? Yes, big protests in Italy, anti-austerity measures, of course. People are broke and hungry. Norway now requiring ID at border crossings with its neighboring Scandinavian countries because we have to be afraid of, obviously, of the Islamic State. And Spain now telling people to shut up.
The Spanish parliament has approved a highly contentious bill that puts major restrictions on citizens' right to protest. The law limits protests to authorized rallies. It makes all unauthorized gatherings punishable by fines of up to $745,000.
Whoops.
The measure has been fiercely criticized by opposition politicians and activist groups. Several lawmakers tied up their mouths in protest as MPs debated the bill. Opponents say the legislation violates the right to protest, limits the freedom of expression, and gives more power to police. They say the measure simply undermines democracy. Spain has been hit by a wave of demonstrations and strikes over the past months against the government's austerity measures.
Yeah. People have nothing to eat. In Italy, 43% unemployment amongst the working capable group. Of course, a lot of those.
Italy's a
kids.
mess.
Yeah, well, if Italy goes down, then we're going to have a lot of problems in EU. It's I don't know.
Well, that's why they're drawing attention to Greece.
To Greece?
Yeah, Greece is falling apart, and everyone's looking at Greece right now, to distract people from Italy.
Oh, you mean? Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Greece is about to go bankrupt, and now they're back on track for thinking about getting out of the euro. The whole thing is a reset, a complete reset, right to where they were when we started talking about them, I think, over a year ago.
In Hungary,
there's something screwy about Hungary. It keeps cropping up in the news.
It's not like I didn't predict this. It's in the book. We talked about Hungary being on deck.
What did you say?
Where's the book?
I don't have the book in front of me. I'm not going to start thumbing through the book. Just tell us what you said.
It said, look for regime change in Hungary.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
And Viktor Orban, he is the president or prime minister? I think president. He has now called for prime minister. Here's the report. The Hungarian prime minister, who has vowed to remake his country into a, quote, non-liberal state. I don't know why anyone would say, I want it to be non-liberal. Of course, he's
what does that even mean?
Cozying up to Russia, as the AP reports here.
Oh, okay. Well, they're doomed.
Yeah. Called Friday for a mandatory drug testing of politicians and journalists. It's that's great.
Interesting.
And then this was. The Tor blog had funny, very strange posting. So Tor, of course, is what we believe to be a completely compromised so-called identity concealing system. Obviously, we know who it's financed by, which is a lot of from the U.S. government. And they posted a solidarity against online harassment statement, which I found to be very strange coming from Tor, who you would think they're all about free speech. No matter what it is, speech is free, and you should be allowed to say what you want to say. And
that would be the idea.
Here's what it's a long post. I'll just read the opening. One of our colleagues has been the target of a sustained campaign of harassment for the past several months. We have decided to publish this statement to publicly declare our support for her, for every member of our organization, and for every member of our community who experiences this harassment. She is not alone, and her experience has catalyzed us to action. This statement is a start. And then we will no longer hold back out of fear of uncertainty from an opportunity to defend a member of our community online. We write tools to provide online freedom, but we don't endorse online or offline abuse. How can Tor be saying this?
They've been compromised.
Well, people need to really understand this. We know that online harassment is one small piece of a larger struggle that women, people of color, and others face against sexism, racism, homophobia, and other bigotry. Isn't the whole point of Tor is so that free speech can continue? It may not be nice speech, But it's supposed
to be. It's not about nice speech. It's about free speech. Big difference.
So this is the real compromise. I think this is very, very, very telling.
Maybe it's code.
What do you mean, maybe it's code?
Maybe it's code for something else. We're just reading what it says, but maybe it says something deeper.
I don't think so. I think, okay.
Well, I don't think so either. I'm just saying maybe it's code. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
We work on anonymity technology because we believe in empowering people. This empowerment is the beginning and a means, not the end of the discussion. Each person who has power to speak freely on the net also has the power to hurt and harm. Oh, you hurt me. You said something nasty to me.
Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Yeah. Remember that we had the politician from, was it New Jersey? Said, sticks and stones, you have names, calling does hurt. Merely because one is free to say a thing does not mean that it should be tolerated or considered reasonable. This is Tor.
That is odd. I think that's a screwball thing you ran into.
Well, it's on. Okay. Well, it's not. It's on the Tor blog. It's their statement.
I'm just saying. I think it's screwy. It doesn't make sense. The whole thing is makes you wonder what the hell's going on. What the hell's going on with you guys?
And they have a huge list of everyone who has signed on to this statement. Must be a couple hundred names here. I guess all people who are somehow involved with Tor. Well, I wouldn't be using Tor if you expect.
I wouldn't be using. Well, you should. We already know you shouldn't be using Tor anyway.
I have only one last clip to play us. I have whatever you had. I don't know if you have anything.
I have two.
Good.
Let me play mine, and then you play yours, and I'll finish.
Ooh, big finish.
All right, let's start and let's get this out of the way. I think we should at least report it for people driving around in their trucks and listening to the show. We should at least bring them up to speed on the Greenpeace fiasco.
Yes. Greenpeace, whose mission is to protect the environment, has been accused of desecrating it. It's over a stunt that involves leaving a large message next to a giant set of land sprawlings in a desert in Peru. They show you the site in question right here. It's almost 2,000 years old. The 93-meter-long depiction of a hummingbird, which is considered very sacred in Peru. According to some researchers, the mystic, gigantic image could have been created for religious or astronomical purposes by ancient artists. However, it looked rather different after Greenpeace activists left a message beside it. It says, time for change. The future is renewable, but the message ended up backfiring. Access to the ancient area is strictly prohibited. Not even the president is allowed to set foot there without permission. And Peru's culture minister called the stunt a true slap in the face of everything that Peruvians consider sacred. In fact, the authorities are so angry, they've filed charges of, quote, attacking archaeological monuments, a crime that carries up to 6 years in prison.
Yeah, they mean well.
Let's hope they have the nerve to put those people in prison.
They mean well.
They're idiots.
They mean well.
Yeah, their next target is Stonehenge. They're going to knock all the things over.
If they can get past the barricades and the fences. Back in the day, man, you could just lean up against the Stonehenge, take a photo.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
All right, you're up.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it two in a row. I did want to mention, I just saw the corner of my eye, the lower third chyron on CNN. Sony hackers promise a Christmas gift.
Ooh.
This is great.
We're getting a Christmas gift.
I can't wait for the Christmas. The people must be shitting themselves.
Oh, yeah. What do you think? God, oh, no. Oh. Yeah, must be. You're right. They're freaked.
Oh, man. What are we going to do? This is from NPR. The drone operators, a lot of them are millennials who are, running drones, and there's, these are two-man teams. NPR had a very long profile of a female. She didn't fly the drone, but she operated all the stuff on board. And I just thought it would be interesting. If you get bored of it, I only have it's minute 47. I cut it way down as far as possible. Listen, if you think this is interesting, just to hear a millennial talking about her job of killing people and how she deals with it. And I know a couple of people who have gone through this, who listen to this program, but this was just kind of, I don't know, it's nothing hugely revealing other than, oh, wow, crap.
Taylor greets me at her suburban home. She's pretty. She wears makeup and eyeliner, peach nail polish. She has dove tattoos on the inside of each wrist. And though you might think someone who bombs places by remote control, it's like a gamer or something, video games actually make her sick.
Those, first-person shooter type things, I get kind of motion sickness. I always wanted to be an FBI profiler, so I joined...
Don't you love the up-talking?
Air Force.
They're flying the drones, man.
Into the intelligence portion.
It was 2003, around the start of the Iraq War. She was assigned to what was then a small Air Force program, just about 50 young men and women who learned to analyze images gathered by Predator drones and act on them.
So yeah, I had no idea what I was getting into. There was no press about them, really. There was just what you heard word of mouth through the community.
A military drone has two operators, a pilot who flies the thing by remote control, and a sensor operator who manipulates the cameras and the missiles. Taylor trained as a sensor operator for 6 months at a base near Las Vegas. And then just like that, she was running missions.
It was intense because you're these 19-year-old kids who've never had any experience in war or anything like that, and you're getting trained how to... blow things up and be responsible for $1 million equipment flying over countries that you've never even heard of.
Is this a great country or what, John? We got 19-year-olds running the show. This is fantastic.
And they're not even protected by military law if anyone decided to go after them.
The stress of even just practicing doing it was a little overwhelming, worrying that you're going to mess something up. And, messing something up could mean blowing up the wrong house, targeting the wrong individuals, following the wrong cars, things like that can make huge mistakes.
And wait, because of course we know this is, we have the Killing Tuesday meetings where the president sits with his little team there and they decide who they're going to kill today with the drone. And they terrorize these kids with that same fact.
When it comes to gathering intelligence and things like that.
Higher-ups were watching. They decided who to follow and when to pull the trigger. But still, the stress was immense.
You would have people saying, all right, the president is looking at what you're doing right now, so don't mess up.
Oh, man. I actually believe it. I believe the president is sitting there watching the killing that they just decided.
There's some other people that believe this, too.
So this is almost over, of course. How do these millennials deal with it?
Seriously.
They would tell you stuff like that.
So, a typical workday. Maybe Taylor's snooping on insurgents in Nigeria or bombing terrorists in Afghanistan. And then her shift ends. She walks out of the control station and she's in Nevada, ready to go home or go grocery shopping. Or, as Taylor says, turn the beer light on.
We would all kind of drink. Because you can't talk to anybody else. Everything you're doing is classified. And, whether you did something that you were really proud of or you just did something that is leaving you walking around with the, 1,000-yard stare, you can't talk to anyone except for the people that you just did everything with, like your crew. So you kind of bind together and you drink a lot, and yeah, that's pretty much how you deal with it.
It's going to be a great generation.
They're drunk anyway.
This is so sad.
I know, it's really sad.
We're bitching about rectal rehydration. Man, what's gonna become of these kids?
Alcoholics.
Our kids. Yeah.
The only last thing I have is apparently one of the MPs was caught playing Candy Crush.
Yeah, I saw this
during one of the meetings where
this was Parliament where they go.
And Cameron are yakking at each other and they're screaming and everyone's like, yeah, here. And this guy, and like a lot of
that.
Yeah. And that was going on. And so this guy's playing Candy Crush and for 2 hours apparently. Uh-huh. And somebody took a picture of it. Now the guy's in deep shit until, of course, they started thinking, well, maybe this guy's okay. And what we should do is look into the guy who took the picture. And it's very funny story.
Well, the shamed MP won't face any action, but the person who took this picture could lose their job. The House of Commons has launched an investigation because taking such photos breaches parliamentary rules. Although some MPs say holding an inquiry is pointless and nonsense. In any case, media commentator Neil Wallace says MPs should be focusing on the more vital issues at hand.
I think you can laugh at this, and many will, but there is an underlying serious point, isn't it? This is a guy who's been elected to Parliament. He's being paid a lot of money. He's sitting in a very important committee, actually, and I'm afraid if you can't go into a debate in the Houses of Parliament and actually sit and listen, and if instead you're playing computer games, well, you don't really deserve to be there. What disturbed me far more is that the idea that instead of kicking him off the committee, they're trying to find the person who told the rest of us how this guy is taking our money, taxpayers' money, to sit there and play computer games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't a native ad for Candy Crush?
If it was, it got me.
It was a good one. Yeah.
Got me.
Thursday, I've got, let me see, Project Maelstrom. Working on looking at that. And it's always fun. The rest of the media will be into their lists, year-end lists.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're at the end of the year now. It's going to be all Christmas stuff.
Right. And we will have original content.
Like, we're the only ones who do this.
We try.
Actually, we'll point out probably a couple more native ads that you're going to all be suckered into, because I was almost suckered into that Toys R Us thing, and then I suckered.
Saved yourself.
I did.
Hey, you're doing Twit today, right?
Yes, I am.
Good. That'll be fun.
Taking a long drive.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. I hope you derive some value from today's show. I've got a lot for you. Show notes at 678.noagendanotes.com. All the archives, archive.noagendanotes.com. Coming to you from FEMA Region 6, where we honor the sequential numbers. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, where we're slipping and sliding, peeping and hiding, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
ISIS. We will follow them to the gates of hell. ISIS. I feel good.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
If there's a need for a rescue mission, when the world is threatened, and the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
Adios, mofo.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA